adapter hooked up here yet? Yo, is that? What's hooked up with the field light right now? We just use whatever that one's hooked up for real quick for ours. Yeah. All right. Have to try again. Yes. I'm not getting anything. Nice. Have him go again. Hooked up, Robert? No, is it hooked up? I'm asking you. Is it hooked up? I think it'll be easier to get out. Hooked up.
It should be. We're going to be cutting
The bottom of the second.
Here, I think
I'm only getting this. I'm only getting the crowd one. That's what I'm getting there.
And Coach Jeff Trundy in his 21st season. His starting lineup starts like this. Logan Davidson is the shortstop. He's batting leadoff, followed by Maverick Hanley, the catcher, batting second. Austin Langworthy out of Florida gets the call in center field. Just his 4th game for the Commodores. He hits third. Stephen Williams, a designated hitter, batting cleanup. Kyle Stowers in right field hitting 5th. Cameron Cannon, the 3rd baseman, hitting 6th. It's Will Brennan who's batting 7th and playing left field. Davis Sims batting 8th and playing first base, and Hayden Cantrell in the 9th spot playing second base. Once again for Falmouth, Davidson at short, Handley at the catcher position, Langworthy in center, Williams a designated hitter, Stowers in right, Cannon at third, Brennan in left, Sims at first, and Cantrell at second base. That's a lineup that'll try and back Scott Politz, their starter, a right-hander out of Yale University. He gets the call for the Commodores. Pitching matchup today, Politz, the right-hander for Falmouth, up against another right-hander out of Duke University for Cotuit, Bryce Jarvis, making his 4th appearance on the season. A 0-0 record with a 3.85 ERA. His last appearance against the Commodores in that 12-inning 2-2 tie last week, and he's looking to make it a good start out of the gate, not at the back end of the game, but at the front end as he gets a start here at Lowell Park.
Yeah, his last time out against Falmouth, as you said, in a closing role. He pitched that 1 inning, which was the 12th inning, walked 1, struck out 1, ended up getting out of a tough situation. 2 runners on, ended up with runners on second and third, and 2 really good hitters for Falmouth. We'll see in the lineup today Kyle Stowers out of Stanford and then Cameron Cannon out of Arizona, a pair of Pac-12 guys. They came up with a chance to walk it off just with a little poke into the outfield. Bryce Jarvis shut them down, got Stowers to ground out over to first base, and got Cameron Cannon to strike out swinging. So he has these guys' numbers right now, and he's just got to keep that mojo going into today.
For Cotuit, it's been a method of adjustments. If you heard the pregame interview with Coach Roberts just before our last break, Coach Roberts preaching adjustments. A lot of those will come at the plate for today's game, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The offense has struggled, and we see a slightly different lineup today. I know we'll get to that later on, but Coach always tries to tinker with the lineup and see if putting a certain guy in a certain spot will spark things. Of course, the Kettleers still have 3 relatively new players. Duke Ellis, who started his first game here in Cotuit all the way back against Chatham a few days ago, he will get the start today in left field and will offer some good contact, because at the end of the day, to get out of a slump, you need guys to swing and hit the ball hard, and Duke Ellis is someone who does that. I think he's a player who could certainly spark Cotuit today.
We'll see Duke Ellis, who's in the starting lineup for Cotuit. Umpires down behind home plate in the cream today. A 3-man crew. Michael Collier is the home plate umpire. Rick Emerson at first base and Rob Wilson at third base. A 3-man Cape League crew. They'll be umpiring today's game. Head coach for Cotuit is Mike Roberts, and his defense is as follows. They'll be out in the field to start as the home team behind starting pitcher Bryce Jarvis, the right-hander out of Duke. From left to right in the infield, Ryan Reynolds at third base. Mike Salvatore is the shortstop. Corey Wood, the second baseman, and Zach Bierman at first base. In the outfield, like Sam was saying, Duke Ellis gets his first start of the 2018 season for the Kettleers. He's in left. Bo Brundage, the center fielder, and Will Robertson is the right fielder. The catcher and battery mate of Bryce Jarvis today, Brady Smith out of Florida, getting the call behind the plate. Smith to start for the Kettleers along with Jarvis, as here come the pinstripes. And the home whites today trimmed in maroon. It's the Cotuit Kettleers who take their home field here at Lowell Park behind Bryce Jarvis on the mound.
And there was actually just a very late defensive substitution made, so the outfield is going to look a little different. Will Robertson still in right. Duke Ellis is actually going to move over to center, and then Michael Tolia gets the start in left. So Bo Brundage is out of the lineup. It's Tolia, Ellis, and Robertson from left to right in the outfield.
All right, so there's a defensive change. Tolia in left field, Duke Ellis in center field, and Bo Brundage to the bench. So that would put Tolia in Brundage's spot.
Yes.
Then. So
yes.
Tolia is in Brundage's lineup spot. So there you go. Getting set for baseball here at Lowell Park. We'll get you the defensive lineup once more for Cotuit. Same around the infield. Reynolds at third base. It's Mike Salvatore, the shortstop. Corey Wood is the second baseman, and Zach Bierman at first. Outfield once again. Michael Tolia is a left fielder, a late defensive substitution who comes on in the top of the first. Bo Brundage to the bench as Duke Ellis shifts over to center field, and it's Will Robertson in right field. Falmouth Commodores will be in their black away uniforms today, trimmed in maroon, Falmouth across the front, edged in white with gray pants, and black caps as well with the maroon Falmouth F on the front. Bryce Jarvis getting set, making his 4th appearance on the season, working with Brady Smith. The first time that those two have combined on the mound. And we'll see how Jarvis does to start things off. Second game of a 4-game homestand for the Cotuit Kettleers here at Lowell Park, their longest homestand of the season. And they get ready to take on the Falmouth Commodores, who come to the plate. Davidson, Handley, and Langworthy all due up to face Bryce Jarvis, the right-hander out of Duke, making his 2nd start of the season and his 4th appearance on the campaign. Davidson, the shortstop out of Clemson, batting from the left side. Jarvis out of Duke winds up, and the right-hander misses on his first pitch of the day, a ball outside, and it's 1-0 to Davidson. Davidson, a 191 batter with 3 runs batted in on the campaign. Jarvis is 1-0, up and away again with an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, 2 balls and no strikes. Logan Davidson, you might have heard the name, was in Omaha a couple of days ago in the College World Series Home Run Derby, and he smacks one out into right field. Charging in is Robertson, who had a bad beat on it. He took a couple of steps back and then lets it drop right in front of him for a leadoff base hit. I think he might have had trouble with that one in the sun as he's got his shades on straight away and right. So it's a leadoff base hit for Logan Davidson.
In right field, when you're standing there around 5 o'clock at Lowell Park, the sun is shining directly into right field. So off the bat, Robertson backpedaled and had a tough adjustment at the last second. Thus, Davidson's aboard.
Catcher Maverick Hanley will step in, batting from the right side. He takes a first pitch strike from Jarvis. Davidson with the single. He takes his lead at first. Jarvis immediately out of the stretch. The 0-1 to Hanley, tapped over to short. Salvatore tried to funnel it. He'll sling it to second in time for 1 as Davidson slides in late, but no double play. Salvatore having a little trouble on the initial ground ball, but the Kettleers get the lead runner, and that's the first out of the inning.
Yeah, you'll take that if you can't get the double play. Maverick Hanley, catcher, offers a lot of speed, so even though Salvatore had a little trouble with the ball, it would have been a close play at first. You still get the out.
Maverick Hanley at first base now with 1 out here in the top of 1, and Austin Langworthy comes to the plate. Takes the first pitch ball outside. Just underway between Cotuit and Falmouth. 6'4" fielder's choice for Hanley. As here's the 1-0 to Langworthy, who takes down and away once again from Jarvis. A 2-0 count. Brady Smith, the catcher from Florida. It's Austin Langworthy at the plate, his Florida teammate. Batting from the left side. Center fielder who played well for the Gators this past season, and he cranks one into right field. This time Robertson will make a play on it. Straight away, he's got it for out number 2.
All righty, so you learn from the Sun experience the first time out. That time Robertson looking like a pro as he shades his eyes a little bit more. Really beaten down on right field, but a nice play there.
2 down in the top of the first. Stephen Williams will come to the plate now for Falmouth. On a sunny day here at Lowell Park, about 80 degrees, a big breeze blowing out here, about 15 miles an hour. Jarvis gets a swing and a miss on Williams with the first pitch, and it's 0-1. You can see the big tree line bristling in the wind here at Lowell Park. As gorgeous as it gets in the Cape League, right off the Cotuit Bay. Nestled off of Main Street and Lowell Avenue, the site of an Americana celebration on the 4th of July yesterday. Thousands of people lined up along Main Street in the red, white, and blue for the 242nd birthday of the United States of America. Such a fun thing to see. Mike Roberts loved it. The entire Kettleers team loved it. And here we are playing baseball, America's game, on July the 5th. 2-1 count now to Williams as Jarvis misses with the off speed. 2 outs here in the first and a runner on in Maverick Hanley.
If you heard in our pregame interview, I know Coach Roberts had some good lobster, and you got to try your first ever lobster last night.
2-1 to Williams, high and away with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and Jarvis falls behind 3-1. Yeah, we had the lobster rolls in Pompanesett at the Raw Bar. So good. A+ first time around. Can't wait to have more as Jarvis picks over to first, and he gets Hanley trying to dive back in. That's the 3rd out of the inning, but hang on a second, as a home plate umpire, Mike Collier, is going to call that a balk on Jarvis, shaking off Mike Roberts, who's now come out of the third base dugout to argue his case for Cotuit. The runner was blatantly out. However, Mike Collier, the home plate umpire, calling a balk on Jarvis. So that will allow Hanley to move up a bag with 2 outs in the inning. And you can hear Mike Roberts down there saying that's the first base umpire's call. Of course, gesturing to Rick Emerson. "It's your mistake, not mine," is the quote. Roberts will go back to the dugout, safe from any punishment. And Hanley will go down to second base with 2 outs here in the top of 1. Williams still the batter in a 3-1 count in a scoreless ball game. The balk on Jarvis gives Falmouth the runner in scoring position. Jarvis comes set, his 3-1, catches the outside corner, and it's a full count on Williams. No score here in the top of 1. Bryce Jarvis out of Duke. The right-hander looks in. Closed off out of the stretch. His payoff pitch roped over towards second. Under the glove of Corey Wood, who tried to make a catch. And the runner in Hanley will come home to score. Williams advancing to second on the throw. And just like that, Falmouth cashes in 1-0 here in the top of the first.
Yeah, an unfortunate series of events there. The balk call coming from the home plate umpire, Mike Collier, keeping the inning alive, and then coming home didn't really have much of a shot.
Lead as Stowers steps in and skies one towards left field. Michael Tolia comes on and he makes the catch, and that's the final out of the inning. But the Falmouth Commodores score in the opening frame. 1 run on 2 hits and 1 man left as they lead the Cotuit Kettleers heading into the bottom of 1. Kettleers coming to the plate, down 1-0 here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. We'll be back in a moment. Bottom of the first inning, and the Kettleers are down 1-0 against the Falmouth Commodores. Stephen Williams, the RBI single in the first to give the Doors a road lead. And the Kettleers will come to the plate up against right-hander Scott Politz out of Yale. The starting lineup for Mike Roberts changed at the 11th hour. We'll get you it right now. Leading off and playing right field is Will Robertson. Thomas Dillard, the designated hitter, batting second. Brady Smith, the catcher, hitting third. Michael Tolia, late substitute, in at left field. He bats cleanup in favor of Bo Brundage. Zach Bierman is the first baseman, batting fifth. Corey Wood, the second baseman, batting sixth. Duke Ellis is in center field. He's batting seventh. Ryan Reynolds, the third baseman, in the 8-hole, and Mike Salvatore batting ninth at shortstop. Once again for the Kettleers, Robertson in right, Dillard the DH, Smith behind the plate, Tolia in left field, Bierman at first base, Wood at second, Ellis in center, Reynolds at third, and Salvatore at short, all behind the right-hander Bryce Jarvis, who gave up a run in the top half of the first inning. As the Kettleers will come to the plate, trying to get it back against Falmouth starter Scott Pullitz, a right-hander out of Yale. He's 1-2 on the season with a 2.25 ERA, making his fourth start. The 6'2", 195-pound rising senior out of Austin, Texas. Right-hander winds up, kicks and deals to Robertson, who lines one right at the shortstop. Davidson leaping up to make the catch. One pitch and a sharp out number one for the Kettleers here in the bottom of one.
Definitely sharp, and the Kettleers need some offense. They need it early and often. This situation kind of reminds me of last Tuesday when the Kettleers played Harwich coming off of an off day. Harwich really limped into the game offensively and then had this offensive rebirth here at Loa Park with 10 runs on what I believe was 14 hits. So let's see if the Kettleers can repeat that kind of thing.
One pitch and one out for Falmouth here in the bottom of one. Thomas Dillard, the batter at the plate, with a 1-0 count. Pullitz dealing in with Maverick Hanley, his battery mate, the catcher out of Stanford. 1-0 from Pullitz, lifted in the air, tracking out foul towards the third base grandstand. 1-1 on Dillard. The Falmouth infield, Cameron Cannon at third base, Logan Davidson, who made the first play of the bottom of the first, is at shortstop. Hayden Cantrell, the second baseman, and Davis Sims, the big man, at first. Here's Pullitz out of the windup, a big cut and a miss on a 77-mile-an-hour breaking ball, and Dillard down on the count 1-2. Falmouth outfield, it's Will Brennan on left, Austin Langworthy, the center fielder, and Kyle Stowers playing right field. Here's a 1-2 pitch, breaking pitch that runs inside, blocked off by Hanley, and Dillard looks at it to make it 2-2. 1-0, Falmouth on top. Maverick Hanley, who's behind the plate, reached on a fielder's choice, then moved up to second base on a 2-out balk by Bryce Jarvis. Stephen Williams with the RBI single to drive him home. 2-2, swing and a miss from Dillard, could not catch up with a fastball, and Scott Pullitz retires the first two batters here in the bottom of the first.
And Pullitz looks really solid early on, and he was a man on a mission his last time out back on June 27th. That was against Orleans. He went 7 innings, giving up just 2 hits, no runs, 4 strikeouts, and no walks. So just 2 base runners all night. He was excellent, and so far, he's continuing that hot streak.
Here's Brady Smith with 2 outs and nobody on. He takes a ball inside as Pullitz trying to continue his good run of form. That Orleans game was the gem of his season so far. 1-0, sweeping fastball off the plate. 2 balls and no strikes to Brady Smith, who's been excellent in the time that he's seen with the Kettleers making his debuts. 0 for 1 with a walk in his last time out, an abbreviated appearance against Wareham where he got the start. He takes a strike on the outside corner, 2-1 the count. He went 2 for 3 in his debut against the Falmouth Commodores in that 2-2 tie in 12 innings the other night on Monday. Pullitz is 2-1, tailed off to the left side on the ground, foul, and that evens the count. Commodores up 1-0 here in the bottom of the first inning. Scott Pullitz, the right-hander on the mound. Out of Yale, smart cookie, as you would imagine. Here's a 2-2 to Smith. Hits it in the air to shallow right field. Coming back is Cantrell. He'll make the catch from second base in the outfield. And that's the final out of the frame. So the Kettleers go down in order. They still trail 1-0 as we head to the second here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball. Back at it for the second inning here at Lowell Park. It's a 1-0 Falmouth lead over Cotuit. It will be Cannon, Brennan, and Sims all due up to face the right-hander Bryce Jarvis out of Duke, who's back on for his second inning of work for the Kettleers. Cameron Cannon will lead things off, the third baseman out of Arizona, batting from the right side. Of course, the #1 most wanted for Cotuit after that 7-6 10-inning victory that Falmouth had back on Friday, the 29th of June. Yeah, the walk-off single in the 10th. He takes the first pitch breaking ball on the outside corner for strike one, and Jarvis gets ahead in the count early. Kettleers playing straight up on the infield and in the outfield. The 0-1 to Cannon. Breaking pitch low and in for ball one. Ketts in the home pinstripes today. Beautiful white uniforms trimmed in maroon. The maroon ball capped with the gray script C on the front. Cannon looks at another fastball off the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Jarvis, the right-hander out of Duke with the high socks, winds up. Here's his 2-2, up and in with a slider, and he falls behind in the count once again. 3 balls and 1 strike. Falmouth with the 1-0 lead. The RBI single from Williams. The first inning, giving the Commodores a road advantage. Jarvis's 3-1 dips off the plate. It's a 5-pitch walk to Cannon to start the second. And once again, the Commodores with their leadoff runner to begin the frame.
Yeah, walks can sting, especially a leadoff batter when you're already trailing. And Coach Roberts, when we talked to him before the game on Tuesday, right before 4th of July against Wareham, he said something he's been disappointed in is the number of walks from his pitching staff. So just 1 so far today, but we'll see if Bryce Jarvis can keep that under control. He generally does.
Here's Will Brennan, the left fielder out of Kansas State. He takes a fastball on the outside corner for strike one. Runner on first and nobody out here in the top of 2. A 1-0 Falmouth edge. Ryan Reynolds right in on the grass at third base. Brennan taps one back behind home plate foul, and he's down in the count 0-2. Brennan with his 75th at-bat of the season. That's good enough for second in the entire Cape League. Normally the Falmouth leadoff hitter, but drops down to the 7th spot in Jeff Trundy's order today. He chokes up on a black wood bat for the 0-2 as he looks at a slider way outside in the other batter's box. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Those purple batting gloves, the K-State Wildcats.
Cannon at first base taking his lead after the leadoff walk. Jarvis's 1-2 is a slider that once again can't bend back into the zone. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brady Smith, his battery made out of Florida in the blue and orange gear, looking over to the third base dugout to pitching and catching coach Jerry Weinstein for a sign. Jarvis's 2-2 hit high in the air and going out foul on the left side, back behind the third base grandstand. Nearly over to the Kettleers kitchen, which I'm sure is cooking up some good grub here on this July afternoon.
They got those toasted buns for the lobster rolls and the hot dogs.
Have to check that out soon.
Yeah.
Here's a 2-2 again. Tapped over on the right side. Bierman has it. He thought about going to second. Instead, the first baseman will go to the bag himself for 1 out. Cannon moves up to second base, and this will bring up David Sims with 1 away in the second.
Smart decision there from Zach Bierman. No need in trying to get too fancy. You got to trust your pitcher. Just get the easy out that's right in front of you.
Davis Sims, big first baseman out of Murray State, comes to the plate. Batting from the right side, 1 out and a runner on second base, and Falmouth up by a run. Jarvis's first pitch to him is a fastball in the dirt for ball 1. Third meeting between these two sides in just a little bit over a week. Right-handers 1-1. That's on the outside corner. 2-0 now. Sims out of Paducah, Kentucky. The OVC Rookie of the Year as a freshman. Came off of a stellar sophomore season where he hit .357 with 6 home runs and 42 RBI for the Racers. Here's Jarvis's 2-0, a fastball that misses in the dirt, and it's a 3-0 count. Kettleers trying to get back above 500 coming into today's game with a 9-9-1 record through 19 games. Falmouth at 8-10-1. Jarvis is 3-0. Fastball that gets the lower part of the zone, 3-1. Winner of today's game will move into fourth place in the Western Division. Top 4 teams in each division get into the Cape League playoffs. Jarvis looks at the runner at second. His 3-1 popped up high into the air, deep left field. Tolia in the shadows near the fence, ranging over to his left. He'll make the catch, and that's the second out of the inning. A long fly out there from Sims to left field. The runner in Cannon stays put at second base, and they're 2 down.
Here's a good question for you. It was just pointed out to me by Max Coran that Bryce Jarvis in the last week has now played against Falmouth 3 times, twice in a starting capacity because he started the game exactly a week ago. When's the last time you think a pitcher appeared against the same team 3 times in 1 week with multiple starts?
That is a wonderful question.
You know, I mean, they say familiarity breeds contempt.
Falmouth has already tagged Jarvis for a run back in the first. Commodores up 1-0. There's a big swing and a miss from Hayden Cantrell, number 9 batter, the second baseman out of Louisiana Lafayette. He comes up with 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. Commodores up 1-0 over Cotuit. Runner on second base. Jarvis closed off in his stretch, delivers a fastball outside for ball 2. Good crowd on hand here at Lowell Park. Third base grandstand filled to the brim as usual. Postseason American flag semicircle banners across the outfield fence and everywhere around the ballpark that you can think of on the concourse. Behind our Arnold Mycock building, press box here at Lowell Park. Sunny day, clear blue skies up ahead. A 3-1 count to the batter in Cantrell. Jarvis's pitch grounded on the right side. Bierman ranges over to his right to get it at first. He tosses to Jarvis, who covers the bag in time for the 3rd out of the inning. So the Falmouth Commodores strand a base runner in scoring position here in the second and come up with nothing as it's 1-0 Falmouth over Cotuit. Kettleers coming to the plate here in the bottom of the second inning when we come back here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. The Cotuit Kettleers trailing the Falmouth Commodores here, 1-0 in the bottom of the second inning. 4, 5, and 6 due up. It's Michael Tolia, the left fielder, followed by Zach Bierman, the first baseman, and then Corey Wood, the second baseman. All due up for the home side here, down by a run against Scott Politz, the right-hander out of Yale. Right-hander winds up and deals a fastball at the shoulders of Tolia for ball number 1. Michael coming into today's game 0 for his last 17. He's been slumping badly to begin his second stint here in Cotuit after playing the 2017 summer. Takes a curveball down in the dirt for ball 2. Switch hitter batting from the left side here. Trying to find his mojo again. as he cranked out a team-high 6 home runs last season for the Kettleers. Pullitz is 2-0, whipped in the air towards left field, tracking toward the line. That one's going to fall on the left side of the foul line, out of play, and it will be a foul ball for strike one.
Tolia, like many pitchers, is a rhythm guy. I mean, right now he hasn't been finding his swing. He was working really hard in the cage before this game, one-on-one with a few coaches to try and find that magic touch. But when he's on, he's really on. Last year, to end the season from July 30th to August 6th, including the playoffs, in that 1 week, he hit 5 home runs and had 12 runs batted in. So when he's on, he's on. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
He's trying to catch fire here. His team could use him. The 2-1 is a breaking pitch that catches the inside corner for strike two. Kettleers' offense has suffered in their last run of 10 games. They're 3-6-1 over their last 10, and they've only scored 8 runs in the previous 4 ball games. Tolia's 2-2. He fends it off on the right side foul and stays alive.
In the course of a 44-game season, you're going to have stretches like that. The Cotuit offense the first week of the season was on fire, had some performances like the 10-1 win on opening day against Brewster, 6 runs against Orleans, 10 runs later that week against Hyannis.
2-2 from Tolia, grounded towards first. Sims has it. He calls off Pullitz and takes it to the bag himself. 1 down here in the bottom of 2. Zach Bierman will come to the plate. 1 out and nobody on here in the bottom of the second, and the Kettleers down by a run. Bierman batting in the 5th spot in the order today. Normally we've seen him in the 2nd spot, but Mike Roberts dropping him down in the order to a more power RBI friendly position.
He's a power RBI guy. Makes sense.
Breaking pitch from Pullitz is upstairs for ball 1. Bierman batting from the left side with those blonde curly locks coming out of the maroon batting helmet. 1-0 from Pullitz, a fastball that misses at the letters. 2-0 now.
And he's got the new batting gloves. He always had those Spider brand batting gloves with a big spider sprawled across the back of it.
There's a 2-0 swing and a miss on a good curveball there from Pullitz.
Before
2-1 count.
Before it was that kind of turquoise, teal, Coastal Carolina color, but he just got a maroon Cotuit batting glove, so it looks really good with the rest of the kit.
2-1, big swing and a miss on another curveball that yanks in there for strike 2. The 2-2 count on Bierman. 1 out and nobody aboard here in the bottom of 2. Kettleers down 1-0. Pullitz winds up. Here's the pitch. Inside. An appeal down to third base. No, says Rob Wilson, the third base umpire, as Bierman semi-checked his swing. And the count runs full. Wind blowing out here at Lowell Park. Zach trying to get a hold of one here. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss on a fastball outside, and that's a strikeout in the 2nd out of the inning for Pullitz.
Pullitz looks really sharp early on, and for the Kettleers, you want to be careful to not give him a few 1, 2, 3 innings to start this game, because this offense has run into a few pitchers as of late. You'll remember some of the names: Joey Matulovic against Wareham, Alec Manoa, Chatham, Jared DeCesare-Bourne. These pitchers who are riding a hot streak, who come on fire.
Corey Wood with 2 outs and nobody away, or nobody on. Takes a ball outside. The High Sox, Coastal Carolina's second baseman, following up his Chanticleer teammate in Bierman, as he takes another fastball way upstairs for ball 2. One of the things Pullitz likes to do is really trick his hitters. We saw him kind of tease a couple of batters with 2-0 counts in this ball game, but eventually come back to put him away. Hence Bierman on that last at-bat. As Wood takes a slider low and in for ball 3, a 3-0 count on Corey. He's worked 9 walks this season. That's the best mark on the Cotuit ledger. Pullitz is 3-0, right down the heart of the plate for strike 1.
Back to Pullitz with tricking of the hitters. He says he tries to look at it as a game. I mean, baseball is a game, but just the pitching to him, toy with the hitters, mess with them as much as he can.
The 3-1, popped back by Wood. That'll go out to the splash zone in the Cotuit parking lot. All the youngsters scurrying back for it. There's a race for that foul ball. Fun to see. One of the many little special unwritten traditions here at the home of the Cotuit Kettleers. 2 outs and a full count here to Corey Wood. Pitch from Pullitz is lined into shallow left field, and that's down. A base knock for Corey Wood with 2 outs. Will extend the Cotuit second inning.
Exactly what the doctor ordered. Some 2-out hitting, nice little poke. Corey Wood going oppo, and Tuesday against Wareham, when Joey Matulovic was riding a no-hitter in the 5th inning, Corey Wood stepped up, got the first hit of the ball game on a sharp double down the line, that time getting Scott Pullitz on the stretch for the first time today.
So Scott Pullitz with a runner on. Right-hander will come to the set against Duke Ellis. Batting for the left side, center fielder out of Texas takes a ball down and in for ball 1. Wood on second base with a 2-out single, and the Kettleers trailing by a run here in the home half of the second. Duke Ellis, the Texas Longhorn, at the plate. The 1-0 fouled back into the netting just behind home plate. And it's a 1-1 count on Ellis. Coming off of a strong season with the Texas Longhorns where he hit .289, very much a contact hitter, 3rd in the Longhorn leaderboard. Rising junior, transferred from Panola College to Austin. 1-1 from Pullitz, breaking ball in there for a called strike 2.
Duke has a really smooth swing, cuts through the middle of the zone really nicely, and he looks the part for a tall, lanky outfielder, a lead-off speed kind of guy. Certainly looks the part.
Wood taking his lead at first. 1-2 count to Ellis with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. He's able to fight it off towards the left side. Foul out of play. Ellis, a long, slender frame, 6'3", 175 pounds or so. Good speed as he stands on the left side. There's a pick over to first as Wood dives back in safely. Kettleers down 1-0 here in the bottom of the second. First hit of the day comes from Corey Wood. He's on first base. It's Ellis at the plate. Pullitz out of the stretch. The 1-2, swing and a miss. He got him with a fastball upstairs. And Pullitz retires the side. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and a man left for the Kettleers as we head to the third. 1-0 Falmouth. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Sam Brief with a play-by-play when we return.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. 1-0 Falmouth leads it, top of the third. Third matchup of the week between the Kettleers and the Commodores. A week ago today, back at Gov Fuller Field in Falmouth, it was a 7-6 win in 10 innings for the Commodores. And just a few days ago, back on Monday, a 2-2 tie in 12 innings. Top of the order coming up for Falmouth. It's a 1-0 count right now for Logan Davidson, who takes a look at ball 2 low. Bryce Jarvis still on for the Kettleers on a beautiful post-4th of July day. It's really summer now. If it wasn't before, we're past the 4th here on this lovely summer afternoon. There's a fastball high and tight, taken for strike 1. So Logan Davidson, shortstop out of Clemson. He's at the plate right now. Switch hitter. He's going lefty right now against the righty Bryce Jarvis. Here's his 2-1. Swung on, a chopper on the right side, and hailed by Zach Bierman. He steps on the bag for a quick out number 1.
Bierman's been pretty busy this afternoon. 2-3 unassisted put-ups now, and he had a 3-1 put out to Bryce Jarvis to retire the side in the last inning. Working that soft taco over there at first base.
Soft taco, as Jerry Weinstein likes to call it. The big 13-inch tan Easton mitt that can glove up anything in its vicinity. Ball 1 comes into Maverick Hanley, the catcher out of Stanford. He scored the lone run today. Reached base on a 6-4 fielder's choice, and then advanced to second on a controversial balk call as he hammers the second pitch foul for a 1-1 count. He was originally picked off. Bryce Jarvis turned to first and picked him off by a mile, but then home plate umpire Mike Collier coming out and saying it was a balk. Here's the 1-1, slapped into center, down a base hit right in front of Duke Ellis, and now Maverick Hanley on for the second time this evening.
Hanley really is a bulldog. I was impressed when I saw him for the first time on Monday's 12-inning game. He caught all 12 innings of those games. A defensive specialist behind the plate, and he's also having a decent little summer as of late with the bat. He reached base 4 times in 6 plate appearances in Monday's 12-inning affair, and he's already 2 for 2 to start the day here.
Here's Austin Langworthy. Hammers the first pitch foul, an 0-1 count to the Florida Gator. Langworthy flew out to right field back in the first inning. He's 1 for 12 on the young season, of course, arriving on the Cape late due to his appearance in the College World Series, where Florida made it to the semis. Here's the 0-1, hammered foul about to the same spot, and Bryce Jarvis has the 0-2 advantage. Bryce Jarvis, his 3rd start of the season, his 2nd start of the week against Falmouth, and his 3rd appearance of the week against Falmouth. Here's the 0-2 to Langworthy. It's high, ball 1. Jarvis out of Duke, a rising sophomore at 6'2", 170. Comes from Franklin, Tennessee. Brentwood Academy in that area. And he's got the 1-ball, 2-strike count. This fastball dips outside, and the count 2-2. His father, Kevin, is a former Cotuit Kettleer. Back in 1988, we'll have more on that for our 5th inning trivia. Here's the 2-2 from Jarvis, swung on and hammered out into right center field, down a base hit just in front of Ellis. He gloves it, fires to the cutoff man in Salvatore, but Maverick Hanley slides into into third. Check that, safe. Langworthy on with a single. Now runners on the corners for Falmouth. Just 1 out here in the 3rd.
Once again, another opposing team stringing together hits on Cotuit starting pitchers. 4 hits right out of the gate for the Commodores. That time Langworthy got some good lumber on it for just his 2nd hit of the season, right to center field, and Hanley doing a nice job to go 1st and 3rd. And now the Kettleers infield is going to have to get their alignment right with just 1 out in this inning.
The infield coming in right on the edge of that infield grass. It's 1 out. Runners on the corners for Stephen Williams. First pitch to him, fastball called strike. Stephen Williams out of Auburn. The DH today, big lefty, number 40. Responsible for Falmouth's lone run today, he drove in Maverick Hanley on a single in the 1st. Second pitch from Jarvis is outside, a 1-1 count. Stephen Williams, normally a right fielder, from Auburn, down on the plains in Alabama. 6'3", 215. Was an excellent power hitter for the Tigers this past season. Here's the 1-1. That's low, and it's ball 2. Williams was the 35th round pick of the New York Yankees back in 2017. He decided to turn away from the Bronx and head down to the plains and play for Auburn. Here's the 2-1. That's high, ball 3. Williams, his freshman season at Auburn, off to a great start. 291 batting average, 12 dingers, and 51 runs batted in. He's got a 3-1 count. Here comes the pitch from Jarvis. It trails inside and low. That's ball 4. Williams will take first, and that loads up the bases for Kyle Stowers. 1 out here in the 3rd.
Jarvis struggling with control early. It's been an issue. A lot of 2-0 counts, 3-1 counts, and those have led to a couple of walks here and already a sticky situation with the bases loaded in the 3rd. Only a 1-run ball game, but the Kettleers really need some big pitches out of their starter here to keep it at that.
So it's Kyle Stowers now out of Stanford. Big lefty digs in as Jerry Weinstein comes out of the dugout for a chat with Bryce Jarvis. Weinstein, lead assistant for the Kettleers, working this season with the pitchers and the catchers. No stranger to the Cape League. He coached as the manager for the Wareham Gatemen back in 2016, and he has a litany of experience at the major league level, international level. Right now he's going to chat with Jarvis. We're on the top of the 3rd here in Cotuit. It's 1-0 Falmouth. Bases loaded for Kyle Stowers with 1 out. Last time out against the Kettleers on Monday, Stowers was 0 for 5, but last Thursday, the first meeting, he hit a solo home run to second to break up to get the scoring going. And he'll step in here in a big spot for Bryce Jarvis. So mound meeting over. Jarvis comes back in, and Stowers taking some practice hacks right out of the left-handed batter's box. And now he'll step back in ready for a big at-bat early in this one. So bases loaded, Maverick Hanley at 3rd, Austin Langworthy at 2nd, Stephen Williams at 1st. Jarvis out of the stretch with the infield in. Here's the first pitch with 1 out. Fastball that pins on the inside corner, strike 1. Kyle Stowers gets in his tall stance, the black bat, black helmet, and the black jersey, a villainous look. Here's the 0-1. It's outside, ball 1. This season, Stowers 1 for 3 with the bases loaded. And just a 182 clip with runners in scoring position. He's got 2 of them here. Here's the 1-1. Swung on a grounder, just foul on the first base side. Would have scored 2 easily had it been fair, but luckily for Cotuit, it's just a strike and the count runs to 1-2. Brady Smith, the catcher for the Kettleers today, turns to the dugout to get the signal. He's got his sharp Florida Gator catcher's gear. The royal blue and then the highlighter orange accents across the chest plate, shin guards, and the helmet. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Top of the 3rd, the bases are juiced for Kyle Stowers. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Bryce Jarvis rings up Stowers, and now 2 outs here in the 3rd.
Good time to get your first strikeout of the day. Jarvis doing a nice job getting it ahead of the count and then coming with a breaking ball to finish off Stowers in that last at-bat.
So now it's Cameron Cannon, who has certainly had the Kettleers' number this season. He was 3 for 5, or 3 for 6, check that, last time out when these 2 teams played on Monday. And last Thursday hit the walk-off in the 10th to win it. First pitch with the bases juiced. It's the outside corner, strike 1. Cameron Cannon out of Arizona, starting 3rd baseman today for Falmouth. Number 26 taps home plate with the black bat. And now rests it over his right shoulder. Here's the 0-1. Again hits the outside corner, strike 2. And now Bryce Jarvis with the 0-2 advantage. A chance to get out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam. Ducks on the pond for Cameron Cannon as he steps back in. And Jarvis comes set. Here's the pitch. Swung on, a little tapper that's just foul on the 3rd base line. Brady Smith smartly picks it up and applies a meaningless tag on Maverick Hanley as if to say, hey, if this was fair, I would have had your number.
You know, we saw earlier this afternoon Jerry Weinstein working with the catchers, some extra work on the side on little ground balls out in front of home plate to either side of the line. And a nice job by Brady Smith there to make sure that he clutched it in his bare hand before that one could roll back fair, possibly.
Would have been a messy play.
Yeah.
Jarvis had a long way to go to get to home to cover. So it's an 0-2 count, 2 outs, base is still loaded. Here's the pitch from Jarvis. It trails outside for ball 1. A 1-2 count now. Appeal to our first base umpire, Rick Emerson, says Cannon didn't go around on that maybe 1/5 of a swing. Infield back a little more with 2 outs. Jarvis just needs another strike to get out of the jam. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bases juiced. Here's the pitch. Swung on. It's a high fly ball deep into left field, hooking towards foul territory. And it's out of play. We'll do it again with a 1-2 count. Again, 3rd meeting of the season between these two teams. Cotuit and Falmouth 4th and 5th in the West. Kettleers 9-9-1. Falmouth 8-10-1. The feisty Cameron Cannon. Arizona Wildcat steps back in. Now here's the pitch from Jarvis. Swung on and cracked into deep left field. Tolia going back, and it 1-hops off the fence. It'll score 2, maybe more for Falmouth. 2 have already come in. Here comes Stephen Williams. The throw home, not in time. Now the throw back to third, in time to get Cameron Cannon with the inning-ending out. But first, the 3 runs came in to give Falmouth a 4-0 advantage here in the 3rd. The throw back to third was in time for the out, so the inning is over, but Falmouth leads it 4-0, heading into the home half of the 1st here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, it's 4-0 Falmouth entering the bottom of the 3rd. So to recap, the bases were loaded with 2 outs for Cameron Cannon. He sent a double out into left center field. That cleared the bases, scored Handley, Langworthy, and Williams to make it 4-0. Coming around into 3rd, Cannon was gunned down by Brady Smith to end the inning at that, but still 3 runs on 3 hits, and it's 4-0 Falmouth, a completely new ball game. As Scott Politz comes on for the 3rd, sends in a first pitch strike to Ryan Reynolds. 8-9-1 due up in this inning for the Kettleers. Reynolds, Salvatore, and then back to the top with Will Robertson. Politz, wind up and the delivery to Reynolds. It dips low for ball 1. Reynolds flips his bat a little bit, now steps back in. The switch hitter batting lefty against Politz, who sets for the 1-1. And it's skied foul down the left field line, a 1-2 count for Ryan Reynolds. So the Commodores, who come in riding a little bit of a streak, their win last week against Cotuit capped off a 5-game win streak. They've won 6 of their last 9. Here's the 1-2, a little tapper foul, and the count stays put. Cotuit 3-6-1 in their last 10. They need a win, and they need a win against the West. This season, the Kettleers have won just 2 games in 6 games against the West. A record of 2-5-1. Here's the 1-2 to Reynolds. Slapped foul. We'll do it again. The Kettleers have had much more success this season against the East. 7 of their 9 wins have come against the East. The offense has taken a turn for the worse, but Ryan Reynolds will look to get things going in the third. Here's Politz's pitch. Swung on and served into left field, hooking foul. And it'll land in the Kettleer bullpen. Tim Smith Jr. making a nice pick out in the pen.
Look at Timmy Smith down there, strength and conditioning coach for Cotuit. Always bouncing around, just a ball of energy, that young man who's doing a great job keeping these players loose and limber.
Here comes the 1-2 from Politz. Inside, but on the corner. A called strike 3 for Scott Politz. That's his third of the ball game. Now 1 out here in the third. Check that, his fourth of the ball game. Scott Politz so far has given up no runs on 1 hit. Mike Salvatore, the Florida State Seminole, will try and change that. Righty-righty matchup here. The pitch from Politz, taken and sent foul right behind us in the press box, an 0-1 count. Again, a beautiful day here at Lowell Park. 83 degrees, the wind blowing out furiously. 16 miles per hour. Wouldn't be shocked if we see it carry some baseballs. The 0-1, cracked foul, a chopper down the third base line.
Politz has been throwing a lot of strikes here, getting ahead of batters, and what's really ironic is he's already had 4 strikeouts here, just an inning or 1 out into the third inning. He had never had more than 4 in a complete ball game in his 3 previous starts.
Here's his 0-2, it's another foul. Politz riding that hot streak, his last start against Orleans. Down at Eldridge Park in the jungle, 7 innings, no runs on 2 hits without a walk. He was nearly perfect. Here's the 0-2 outside. For ball 1 on Mike Salvatore. Salvatore 6 for 22. His first week as a Kettleer. Seems to be a good addition at shortstop. The 1-2 dips low, and the count runs to 2-2. So the man we've been talking about, Scott Politz, out of Yale, a rising senior, 6'2", 195. Came all the way from Austin, Texas, over to Yale. Now here's the 2-2. Outside, and the count runs full. Politz was recruited by some of the bigger Division I programs, and a lot of the players from his high school, St. Andrews Episcopal, went to schools like TCU, Baylor, Texas A&M. Here's the payoff pitch, swung on and served into center. Going over is the center fielder Langworthy, and he makes the catch in the alley for out number 2. So Politz was recruited from some of those bigger programs, but had some good grades in high school apparently, and opted to look at some more Ivy League programs up in the Northeast and settled on Yale. And he's been their ace pretty much since the day he stepped on campus. So 2 outs, top of the order coming up. It's Will Robertson. The lefty digs in. First pitch from Politz, tapped foul. It's an 0-1 count for Will Robertson. Taking a look at his bat. Might have chipped off a piece of it as he walks back to the Kettleer dugout. Hands it off to one of the bat boys. I think he's going to grab a new one. Maybe something happened. Maybe he just took the wrong bat.
I gotta imagine that he chipped a piece of it.
Robertson still in the dugout on the third base side. Gets the new bat. Gonna rub it up and then step back in. It's an 0-1 count. Bottom of the third here at Lowell Park. It's 4-0 Falmouth. The Commodores struck for a run in the top of the first and then struck for 3 on a 3-run bases clearing double with 2 outs in the top of the third. Here's the 0-1 to Robertson. A high fly foul. And the count will move to 0-2. Will Robertson has played 17 games this season for the Kettleers. He's gotten on base in 16 of them. A force to be reckoned with at the top of the lineup as the 0-2 is smothered foul, and it disappears into the trees on the right field side. Robertson was way out in front of it, but it was a line shot. A 286 hitter on the season, 2 home runs, including a home run back at Gov Fuller Field on Monday against the Commodores. 0-2 count, 2 outs, no one on. Here comes the pitch from Politz. Swung on, a chopper up the middle. Picked up by the second baseman. Cantrell turns to first. and guns it over in time for an inning-ending out number 3. It's still 4-0 Falmouth entering the 4th. We'll be back with more Kettleer baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back at it from Lowell Park, top of the 4th. It's 4-0 Falmouth. Pitching change for the Kettleers. Zane Collins will come on in relief of Bryce Jarvis, who went 3 innings, 4 earned runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Zane Collins, the big lefty out of Wright State, a rising senior and one of the handful of returning Kettleers for Mike Roberts. Collins, a southpaw, number 27, has 4 appearances on the season, a 4.50 ERA. His last time out was against these same Commodores. That 2-2 tie on Monday, he went an inning and a third, gave up no runs on no hits, walked 2 and struck out 2. And now Collins will have to keep them quiet as the Kettleers look to scratch and claw back into this one.
It looks like Zane's going to transition into more of a middle relief pitcher role for the rest of the season for Cotuit. Began as a starter and now has made his last 3 appearances in relief, relieving Bryce Jarvis, who struggled to begin this game, allowing the 4 runs on 5 hits. We know Zane Collins loves to pitch off adrenaline. That's his little mantra. We'll see if he can do that here. A sinker baller, a southpaw, kind of a change of pace against this Falmouth lineup that's tagged Cotuit early.
As Sam said, Collins a noted sinker ball. He says it goes wherever it wants to go. And hopefully that can fool some of the Falmouth hitters as the first pitch is high and tight for ball 1. Collins pitches off adrenaline. He gets in a rhythm. He works quick. As the big southpaw gets the signal from Brady Smith. Second pitch to Will Brennan. Swung on. It's a slow tapper up the middle. Scooped up by the second baseman. Wood turns and fires to first for a quick out number 1. Zane Collins just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of one of the best pitching performances in Kettleer history. That was July 3rd of last year down at Wareham at Spillane Field. He threw a complete game shutout for the Kettleers. It was the first complete game shutout for Cotuit since 2010. Collins threw over 100 pitches, and Coach Roberts says Davis Sims sends a high fly ball deep left center field. Tolia is there at the wall, and it bounces right off the center fielder Duke Ellis and over the fence for a home run. A home run for Davis Sims as it bounced off Ellis and over the left field fence right under the Lowell Park scoreboard. That's a solo shot for Davis Sims, and it's 5-0 Commodores.
Big Davis Sims with a big crank out there to left center field. That was a huge hit. He's a big fella, and he can get a hold of one when he does. And Duke Ellis and Michael Tolia went and almost had a play on that ball. It just got over the fence. It did go off of Ellis' glove.
It looked like it hit off of Ellis, and it looked like there was some confusion between the two as Cantrell sends a ground ball through on the right side for a base hit. Hayden Cantrell rounds first. He's got a single. So it looked to me, Tolia and Ellis were both converging on it under the Lowell Park scoreboard in left center field, with Ellis coming from center, Tolia coming from left. And it looked like the ball hit off of Ellis' glove as he reached up and went over the fence. It looked like it bounced off of something, maybe the top of the fence. It might have gotten the bottom left corner of the scoreboard, but it hit something. Very well could have hit his glove, yeah. Either way, a home run for Davis Sims. Now 5 runs on 7 hits for Falmouth. Cotuit still scoreless here in the 4th, as ball 1 is sent in to Logan Davidson. The runner on first, that's Hayden Cantrell, as Cotuit will look to keep this one within distance. What a start for the Falmouth Commodores, a red-hot team. Here comes the pitch to Davidson. Fastball hits the inside corner, strike 1. Against Jarvis, a righty, Davidson, who's a switch hitter, was batting lefty, but now against Collins, he digs into the right-handed batter's box. You might have heard in the ACC tournament this past season, Clemson beat Notre Dame 21-4. They had an ACC tournament record 17-run inning during that game. And during that inning, Logan Davidson hit a home run from the left side of the plate, and then later in the same inning hit a home run from the right side of the plate. I cannot even fathom. It's a 1-2 count right now.
Those were a couple of jacks, too. He sent those out way out of the park.
Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball inside for ball 2. And the craziest part is that was only a week after he became the first Clemson Tiger to hit a home run from the left and the right in the same game. That was against Pitt the week before. Then he one-ups himself by doing it in the same inning. 17-run inning against the Fighting Irish as time is called. Logan Davidson was at the Home Run Derby alongside Thomas Dillard and Parker Phillips, who plays for Wareham. Here's the 2-2 to Davidson. Swung on and smashed out into left field. Tolia back at the track, and it's gone. Another home run for the Commodores. This time it's Logan Davidson. The Derby continues, and it's 7-0 Commodores.
Davidson right on cue. His first home run of the Cape League season. That was a no-doubter out to left field. Applaud the effort by Michael Tolia, who tried to go Spider-Man on the left field fence and make an effort to make the catch on that ball, but he did not get there, and he was never going to because Davidson put a rocket on that thing. And another home run for the Commodores in this inning, just getting to every Cotuit pitcher they've seen today, and it's all of a sudden a 7-0 touchdown lead for the Doors on the road.
First pitch to Maverick Hanley, a rocket right to the third baseman Ryan Reynolds, who gloves it for an important out, number 2. 7-0 Falmouth leads it. We mentioned in the open, the wind is blowing out. 16 miles per hour, a hot summer day. The balls are carrying. And now 2 home runs for the Commodores with 3 runs scored in this inning. The first one from Davis Sims was a high fly ball that kept kind of carrying, hit something, and just careened off the fence and over the fence. That one from Logan Davidson, a no-doubter. You can see why he was a participant in the Home Run Derby as the 1-0 comes into Langworthy, a chopper on the right side, gloved at waist level by Bierman. He tosses to Collins for the inning-ending out. But Falmouth tacks on 3 more, a home run from Davis Sims and then a 2-run shot from Logan Davidson. It's 7-0 Commodores entering the bottom of the 4th. We'll be back with more right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, 7-0 Falmouth in the bottom of the fourth. Just an offensive explosion from the Commodores. They came into this game with the fewest runs scored on the Cape, the fewest hits on the Cape, but so far 7 runs on 8 hits. And they've got a guy on the mound. He's a man on a mission, Scott Politz, who sends a first pitch to Dillard. It's taken foul for strike 1. 3 runs in the third, 3 runs in the fourth on home runs from Davis Sims and Logan Davidson. It's turned into a rout here at Lowell Park. We'll see if the Kettleers can change that as the breaking ball drops out of the zone for ball 1. Politz on for the fourth, steps back, kicks and deals to Dillard. He gets a foul tip, and it's strike 2. Again, the Commodores last in the West, 8-10-1. Cotuit 9-9-1. As Politz sets for the 1-2, here comes the pitch to Dillard. It drops low out of the zone for a 2-2 count. The Commodores led by Jeff Trundy in his 21st season in Falmouth. One of the most legendary pitchers in the Cape League as the 2-2 comes in, breaking ball outside, and the count runs full. And Trundy's been everywhere, not only 20 years here on the Cape League. He was a player and a captain for the University of New Hampshire baseball team back in the day. He's been an assistant coach. As strike 3 comes into Thomas Dillard, he thought it would be ball 4 as he stepped towards first base. It's a called strike 3, and that's 1 out in the fourth. Back to Trundy, his impressive resume. He's now the head coach at the Gunnery, which is a prep school in Connecticut, but he's been all over. He's a member of the Maine Baseball Hall of Fame. He's been a scout for the Toronto Blue Jays. And here's a stumper. He's also a biology, anatomy, and physiology teacher at the Gunnery as Brady Smith sends a fly ball into left. The shortstop, Davidson, was in the area, but it drops at his feet. And it's a single for Brady Smith, who sent it nicely into the gap.
Nice break for Cotuit there. Brady Smith taking advantage of Will Brennan playing back in left field. Otherwise, he normally would have come on to make that play. Davidson, the shortstop, had a tough run of it because he was sort of battling the sun, didn't have his hips squared up to the baseball, still had to chase it down out there, and it just sort of dropped on the other side of his glove. And Brady Smith, with only the second hit of the Cotuit ball game today, in desperate need of them. Just got to find a way to get some runs going here. Anything and everything. The old saying I always like is you don't have to get it right. You just have to get it going. So even if you're down by 7 in this one and you still come up short, at least put something up on the board to get some pride back and get the swing and confidence going for this ball club.
First pitch ball to Michael Tolia. He's 0 for 1 today. A ground out in the second. Brady Smith at first. Bottom of the fourth at Lowell Park. It's 7-0 Falmouth. Scott Politz, the Yale Bulldog, comes set. He kicks and fires, swung on and hammered out into deep right center field. Going back, Langworthy at the wall, and this ball is out of here. A home run for big Michael Tolia. And the Kettleers have their first runs of the ball game. It's 7-2.
That's one way to get it going. Tolia, there's the big slam he's been looking for. Finally breaks out of that slump at the plate, and in a big way, he smashed that baby. Send all the youngsters behind the right center field fence, searching for it out in the shrubbery in the Old Park Woods. And Tolia with his first home run of the season. Boy, have we been waiting for that one.
A high fly ball that kept carrying and carrying. The wind blowing out on this hot summer day. And Tolia strikes his first home run of the 2018 summer. And the Kettleers might be in business, a 7-2 ball game. As ball 1 drops in to Zach Bierman. 1 out, no one on in the bottom of the fourth. Falmouth still up by 5. 3 home runs already, and we're not even halfway home. Here's the 1-0 to Bierman. It's a rocket foul on the right side, a 1-1 count. So before that home run, I was talking about Trundy. He's a science teacher at the Gunnery. You ever heard of RateMyTeachers.com? You ever used it back in high school?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure some of our listeners and viewers at home might be familiar.
The 1-0 to Bierman is a little poke into right field past the second baseman Cantrell. A base hit, and the Kettleers keep it going here in the fourth. So his rating on RateMyTeachers.com, and even Steven, 100%.
That's awesome. Good for Trundy. Good for Trundy. That speaks volumes. That Rate My Teacher, Rate My Professor rating is pivotal when you're scheduling classes in college. you've got to vet who you're going to be paying money to take in the college education sphere. And, of course, in high school, that still shows a lot. High school teachers and coaches in general make a big impact on students and players' lives. And that speaks a lot about Jeff Trundy. So good on you, Mr. Trundy.
Pretty hard to get 100%, but he's done it, and an impressive baseball resume as well. Again, he's been here in Falmouth for the last 21 years. It's Corey Wood now with his college teammate Zach Bierman at first. He sends a slow ground ball over to Cantrell at second. He gobbles it up and throws to first for the out. Zach Bierman moves over to second with 2 outs. And Jeff Trundy still trying to break the title drought for Falmouth. They haven't won a title since 1980, but they've been in the title round 6 times since then and 3 times since 2011. So the battle cry throughout Falmouth is win it for Trundy. They've got t-shirts. It's a big hashtag on social media as they try and deliver him his first title. Ball 1 in the dirt to Duke Ellis. Bottom of the 4th, if you're just joining us, you've missed a lot of runs here at Lowell Park. 7-2, Falmouth leads it. Already 3 home runs today, 2 for Falmouth and Davis Sims and Logan Davidson, and then 1 for the Kettleers with Michael Tolia. The 1-0, grounder up the middle, diving stop Cantrell. He gathers, throws back to first, not in time. Duke Ellis, the speedy Texas Longhorn, runs it out. Bierman moves over to third, and now runners on the corners for Ryan Reynolds.
Nice job by Duke Ellis. That ball would have been into center field if it wasn't for the diving stop by Cantrell, and that would have scored Bierman. But good defense by the Falmouth second baseman and good speed by Ellis to get up the line. Notice how he peeled off of first base at the end. Just got his foot on the front corner of the bag rather than trying to stride all the way out and go linear, which was good. He was able to get in there. He would have been safe no matter what, I think. But nice little technique by Ellis to keep the inning alive. And now Cotuit's bats are coming alive. Got a 5-run ball game here. Could be even less.
First pitch to Ryan Reynolds. Chopper through on the right side past the first baseman Sims. Zach Bierman scores, coming around third, but now stopped by Mike Roberts is Ellis. He'll go back to the bag with a head-first slide. Reynolds at second, and now it's 7-3. The Kettleers keep the kettle going here in the 4th.
Oh, my gosh. First off, good job, Ryan Reynolds, jumping on the first pitch, an RBI double to make it a 4-run ball game. But the best part of that sequence for me was Duke Ellis, who was being waved around by Mike Roberts at third for virtually the entire time because Stowers had a long time to get to that ball down the line and right. Roberts was waving around and finally just basically went out of the base pass and wide-legged stance put on the stop sign. And Ellis nearly ran him over. It was so funny.
Mike Salvatore up next. Runners on second and third. It's a first pitch ball. Yeah, if Ellis kept going, he would have just trucked over Roberts. So I guess that was the ultimate stop sign. So now it's 7-3. This has been 5 consecutive hits for the Kettleers. Now with 2 outs. Here's a fly ball into left field from Salvatore, and it drops for another base hit. Ellis has already scored. Here comes Reynolds. He scores, and it's 7-5. A 2 RBI single from Salvatore. That's a 5-run inning for Cotuit, and this is a completely new ball game.
Atta baby, Mike Salvatore with the base hit to left. Look at the Kettleers starting to get the bats going. A 5 spot to cut into a 7-run deficit that's turned into 2. Salvi with a nice poke into left. Ryan Reynolds dogging all the way home. A good job by the Kettleers, who have all of a sudden jumped back into this one like that. Snap your fingers. It all started with the Tolia home run, and now this order is really cooking.
Mound visit right now for Scott Politz. That's his pitching coach, Mike Landry. So if you were frustrated when it was 7-0 and you went out to go get some coffee or walk the dog and you're just joining us, it's 7-5 Falmouth. Cotuit has clawed back into this game. A single for Brady Smith got things started, and then Michael Tolia sent him home with a 2-run home run to right center. Then it was 7-2, and then some hits strung together. Zach Bierman getting on board, Duke Ellis a double, Ryan Reynolds a double, Mike Salvatore a 2 RBI single, and just like that, it's 7-5. The Kettleers are back in it. So the only break in this hitting parade for the Kettleers was a Corey Wood ground out. But other than that, that's 6 hits in the last 7 at-bats as the Kettleers have turned a 7-run deficit into a 2-run deficit. And as the sun peaks outside of the clouds, we reset with Pullitz against Will Robertson. The runner on first is Salvatore, 2 outs. First pitch to Robertson, taken at the ankles, low, ball 1. What a turnaround here for the Kettleers. They're known for scoring a lot of their runs in bunches. A lot of times you'll see the Kettleers go cold, cold, cold as Pullitz checks on the runner and then explode for 4 or 5 runs in 1 inning. A few weeks ago against Orleans, they were trailing 4-0 heading into the 7th, put up a 5 spot in the 7th and won the game 5-4. Second pitch to Robertson, chopper right side, a funky bounce to the second baseman Cantrell. He underhand tosses to first for the out. But the Kettleers, down 7-0, explode for 5 runs on 6 hits. And it's a completely new ball game, people. 7-5 Falmouth, entering the 5th, right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Welcome back to Lowell Park. Back at it here at Lowell Park. It's the top of the 5th inning, and the Kettleers have all of a sudden splashed some cold water on their face and gotten back into this one against the Falmouth Commodores. 7-5 in favor of Falmouth, but the 5 spot in the bottom of the 4th inning for Cotuit has got them back into this contest. Sam Niederman alongside Sam Brief, as Zane Collins will be back out on the mound for his 2nd inning of relief against the Falmouth lineup. 4, 5, and 6 due up Williams, Stowers, and Cannon. And of course, in the 5th inning, it's Kettleer trivia time. And today's question, Bryce Jarvis's dad, Kevin Jarvis out of Wake Forest, was a Cotuit Kettleer in 1988. He went on to play 12 seasons in the major leagues and overseas. Which of the following franchises did Kevin not play for during his pro career? Was it A, the Cincinnati Reds, B, the Boston Red Sox, C, the Chunichi Dragons, or D, the Chicago White Sox? That's our trivia question today as Zane Collins deals in a first pitch ball to Stephen Williams, the designated hitter out of Auburn, who's 1 for 1 today with a run scored and a run driven in back in the 1st. He takes a sinker right at the belt for strike 1, a 1-1 count as we begin the 5th.
What level is this? I know we've had some layups in recent days. This feels more like a mid-range jumper.
It's about a level 2, I would say. Breaking pitch from Collins is way outside, 2-1 to Williams. You always construct these questions because you're better at them than I am. And I'd say if you use the context clues, you have a good odds with the 4 multiple choice options. So there you go. But Kevin Jarvis, a former Kettleer in 1988, the father of Bryce Jarvis, who started today's game. 3-1 pitch from Collins is chopped off towards the first base dugout foul by Williams, and the count runs full. 7-5, Falmouth in front. Cotuit, 5 runs in the bottom of the 4th inning, charging them back into contention here at Lowell Park. Big Western Division matchups between these two teams, jockeying for 4th place. Full count pitch is swung on and lined into center field. Sliding effort by Duke Ellis, who is unable to hang on with an underhanded catch. He'll fire it back into the infield. There's a little bit of a discrepancy here on the field. They're going to call that a base hit on the field. Home plate umpire Mike Collier signaling to Mike Roberts, who's out of the 3rd base dugout for Cotuit, and he'll now state his case to the 3rd base umpire Rob Wilson, who had the best look at it. Ellis came sliding in the left center gap to try and make the catch initially, but on the follow-through, the ball looked to be ajar from his mitt. That's the issue at hand as Ellis, the center fielder, puts his arms up and says, well, what did I do wrong? And now the umpires are going to come together in conference.
They might reverse this call because what I saw was Ellis make the catch, and then on his kind of follow-through getting back up, it popped out. And I think what the umpiring crew saw was that ball popping out, but Rob Wilson was closest to the play. He's the third base umpire, and he might be giving his 2 cents to the others. I would be inclined to say it was a catch and then the ball coming out.
The call on the diamond now is a base hit. At some point, Ellis did have that ball in his glove. The question is, did he complete the catch? You might feel like you're listening to an NFL football game here with the catch rule.
Did he complete the process of the catch?
Where's Mike Pereira at when you need him?
Right.
Can we go to Secaucus to review this one at the MLB headquarters? The 3 umpires in their cream uniforms conferencing right in front of the mound. Zane Collins with one hand on his hip watching the 3-man crew trying to conference about this one and sort things through. Duke Ellis, the center fielder, trying to make a sliding catch on Steven Williams in the left center field gap. The question is, was it a catch or a single as the ball popped out of Ellis's glove at the last second when he was getting up from his slide? It would have been a fantastic play for Duke. And let's see if the call goes in his favor. Zane Collins just playing a nice little stretch and toss here with Brady Smith, his battery mate. And the call on the field is indeed an out. Rob Wilson, the third base umpire, coming away from the 3-man umpiring cluster, putting his fist in the air. That warrants some cheers from the Kettleers faithful. And a great play by Duke Ellis sliding in left center field for out number 1.
Jeff Trundy now having a little diplomatic conversation with our home plate umpire, but yeah, what a play from Duke Ellis. He offers so much speed, athleticism, lankiness in center field, really a perfect outfielder, and just the speed to get to the ball, because this was not a high fly ball, this was a line drive. He sprints to the ball and then makes the sliding catch. Ball falling in his glove right as he fell to the ground. It was really a superb play to keep these Falmouth bats quiet, because while the momentum is with Cotuit with that 5-run inning, Falmouth still has 7 runs and a lot of hitters who are riding hot streaks. Everyone on Falmouth has reached base except for 2. So that could have been a really big catch for the Kettleers.
Zane Collins still trying to stay loose with Brady Smith as they toss it back and forth. Kyle Stowers will be the next batter for Falmouth. He is one of those 2 batters that has not reached base today. 0 for 2 with the strikeout his last time up. Jeff Trundy still out there talking with Mike Collier, the home plate umpire. And they'll finish up their conversation. Trundy will walk back to the dugout, unable to gain any diplomatic ground on Collier. And now we're ready to play ball. 1 out here in the top of the 5th, nobody aboard, and Stowers at the plate batting from the left side. The southpaw Collins whips in a nice breaking ball on the inside corner for strike 1.
So now Collins pitching in a 7-5 game where his team's got some juice as opposed to a 7-0 game. You can tell he's got the confidence.
Breaking pitch runs outside, a 1-1 count on Stowers. 7-5, Falmouth in front here in the 5th, but Cotuit answering back. They wake up with a 5-run 4th to cut this game to a 2-run deficit. Collins is 1-1, chopped shallow towards shortstop and off the tip of Salvatore's glove, who was running in to make the play on the grass. He's unable to come up with it clean, and that will allow Stowers to reach base on an infield hit.
That was a good job by Zane Collins, first of all, to get out of the way, because first he went to jump up and try and reach it. And then he realized the better move would be to get out of the way and let Salvatore handle it. But unfortunately, an infield single as Zane will come out.
And now a pitching change for the Cotuit Kettleers. Jerry Weinstein comes out to the mound and takes the ball from the left-hander Zane Collins. He exits this game after working an inning and a third, and we'll get you the new pitcher when we return. 1 out here in the 5th, a 7-5 lead for Falmouth with a runner on. We'll be back with the pitching change after this here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The new pitcher for the Kettleers is right-hander Ryan Leffner out of St. Louis University. He comes on here with 1 out in the top of the 5th, a runner on first base for Falmouth, and a 7-5 ball game. The Commodores leading the Kettleers here. A 5 spot by Cotuit in the 4th has them back in this ball game, and they turn to the right-hander out of San Clemente, California, to relieve Zane Collins with 1 out here in the 5th. New batter is Cameron Cannon, batting from the right side as Leffner comes set, closed off in the stretch. First pitch is a fastball in the dirt for ball 1. Cannon, who struck big back in the 3rd inning, a 3-run triple to make it a 4-0 Falmouth ball game at the time. The Commodores added 3 more in the 4th, capped off by 2 home runs from Davis Sims and Logan Davidson. The 1-0 pitch to Cannon is low and inside, and it's 2-0. Kettleers trailing by 2 runs here in the 5th. Runner on first base, Kyle Stowers with the base knock. Bierman holding on. Leffner comes set. Now he'll throw over to Zach at first, and diving in safely is Stowers. Fans, we'd like to remind you that after Michael Tolia's 2-run shot in the bottom of the 4th inning, every Kettleers home run at Lowell Park this season is special. The home run from Tolia results in a $250 donation to the Cotuit Athletic Association. There's a smash. Left field, Cannon has done it again. A rocket launch to deep left field, a 2-run shot here in the 5th, and it's his 5th run driven in today. Falmouth pounces back on top by 4. It's 9-5.
Man, Cameron Cannon has absolutely owned the Kettleers this season, and that continues. A walk-off a week ago today in that 7-6 win. He had 3 hits and a run scored on Monday, and then already, as you said, 5 runs batted in, a bases-clearing double in the 3rd, 2-run home run there, and a game changer.
So the bases clear with still 1 out here in the 5th. Ryan Leffner on. It only took 3 pitches, and the first 3 that he throws, the last one taken out by Cameron Cannon. A 2-run shot to left field. It's 9-5 Falmouth, who have already compiled 10 hits today. And now it'll be Will Brennan, the left fielder, digging in, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. Leffner, a 1-1 count on Brennan. The right-hander comes set at the belt, kicks and deals. Little nubber over on the 3rd base side, taken by Reynolds. He's on the run. He makes the throw. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Good bounce back there by Leffner to retire Brennan. There'll be 2 outs and nobody on for Davis Sims, one of now 3 Commodores to go long ball today. Sims 1 for 2 with a solo home run back in the 4th inning. Cotuit cuts it to a 2-run game with the 5-run 4th. And then the 2-run shot by Cannon allows Falmouth to double up their lead. It's 9-5. First pitch to Sims is a called strike at the belt, 0-1. Shadows extending onto the infield at Lowell Park, also into left. Good crowd watching on this 4th of July week. Leffner's 0-1, lifted high in the air to deep center field. Ellis sprinting back towards the fence. Sims has done it again. Another home run for Falmouth, their 4th long ball of the day. Davis Sims, the solo shot to deep right center field. And the Commodores blasting off here in the 5th. It's a 10-5 Falmouth lead.
My goodness, now 5 home runs between the 2 sides, and we're not even halfway through this ball game. To reiterate, Falmouth came into this game with the fewest home runs on the Cape. In 5 home runs, they already have 4 today, so they've almost hit as many today as they did in the previous 19 games.
Hayden Cantrell, a long fly ball to right field. Diving in, Will Robertson to make the play for the final out. Nice effort by Will out there on right, and that will clean up the 5th inning. It's 10-5 Falmouth. The Commodores strike big with a 3-run 5th. Home runs from Cannon and Sims to extend the Commodore lead here on the road. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Kettleers down by 5. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleer Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. In the bottom of the 5th inning, it's a 10-5 ball game in favor of the Falmouth Commodores. The Cotuit Kettleers coming to the plate with 2, 3, and 4 due up to face a new pitcher, a right-hander, Ian Koch, on the mound for Falmouth here in the bottom of the 5th. A long wind-up, and an 0-1 pitch is in there to Thomas Dillard. Ian Koch on the mound here in the bottom of this 5th inning, 10-5 ball game. As Dillard gets hit maybe by a pitch, he does not, as a breaking ball ran in there at the shins for ball 1. So a 1-1 count on Dillard. Falmouth coming back big time with a 3-run 5th inning. 2 home runs, a 2-run shot by Cameron Cannon, a solo shot by Davis Sims, making it 3 consecutive 3-spot innings for the Commodores to extend their lead to 10-5 on Cotuit, after the Kettleers mounted a 5-run 4th to cut it to a 2-run ball game. Ian Koch on the mound. The right-hander winds up. His 2-1 is low and away. 3 balls and a strike on Thomas Dillard. Koch out of Western Illinois University. The Leathernecks out of Macomb, Illinois, as his 3-1 is lifted high in the air on the left side by Dillard. This one will get out of play near the lawn seats on the left side. Or excuse me, that one will be caught. That was a catch made by Falmouth. The third baseman, Cameron Cannon, coming over to rob that one right near the fence.
It was a nice little slide right on the fence. Hard for us to see down that line, but still a nice play. Now a few sliding catches we've seen between Duke Ellis, Will Robertson to end the top of the 5th, and now that time for Falmouth.
So Dillard pops out to third base in foul territory, and there's 1 out and nobody on for Brady Smith, who takes a fastball low for ball 1.
Kind of a strange motion from Ian Koch to as he releases. He gets in his set, then the overhead delivery, and then he steps off the rubber to the right and then fires across his body.
Koch making his 7th appearance of the season. 1-0 with a 0 ERA. He's been fantastic out of the Falmouth pen. His 2-0 pitch is a fastball right down the middle to Smith, called strike 1. Last time out, July the 1st in the loss against Brewster, he went 1 inning and a third, walked 2 batters and struck out 1. He winds up overhead as 2-1 to Smith. Sweeps outside a breaking ball, 3-1 now. He's basically pitched about any and every team against the Cape League opponents: Hyannis, Harwich, Bourne, Orleans, Brewster. He's seen pretty much everybody in his first time against the Kettleers this season. The 3-1 to Smith, a fan and a miss on a fastball, and it's a full count.
He's a very powerful pitcher. He's pitched 15 innings this season and given up just 4 hits.
The big right-hander at 6'5", 225 pounds, winds up. Here's a delivery to Smith. He fooled him, swing and a miss on a slider outside. And a good strikeout there from Ian Koch. And that's the 2nd out here in the bottom of the 5th. So Scott Politz, the starter for Falmouth today, goes 4 innings. He allows 5 runs on 7 hits. He only walked 1 batter and struck out 5, a new season high for Politz, who's in line to be the winning pitcher. Michael Tolia stands in, 2 outs and nobody on here in the bottom of 5. First pitch breaking ball off the plate for ball 1 from Koch. Tolia got it going in the 4th inning. He sparked that 5-run rally with a 2-run home run to deep right center, snapping an 0 for 18 streak at the plate. His 1-0 golfed into deep right field. A long ball again from Tolia. That one sails into the trees in right field. Michael Tolia with 2 home runs on the day. This time a solo shot, and the Kettleers have cut it to a 4-run ball game.
What a way to break out of a slump for Michael Tolia with 2 home runs in 2 consecutive innings. The first one was a fly ball. The wind aided it. That time, no help needed, just an absolute shot as it falls into the trees on the right side. And he's been a lot of this offense today for Cotuit, now just a 4-run deficit.
Michael Tolia, the solo home run, makes it 10-6 here in the bottom of 5. As Zach Berman will stand in and strike 2 outs and nobody on. So Tolia breaks through on the Falmouth bullpen. And that's the first run surrendered of the season for Ian Cook, and a big one at that, as the big switch hitter out of UCLA finds his second home run of this game in successive innings. And he's pulled Cotuit back within striking distance, down by 4. It could be a high-scoring affair. Going to be a lot of fireworks as we continue this one, barely even halfway home with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. A 1-2 count on Bierman. Cook's pitch. Hit hard on the right side, but it'll be out of play and foul.
The beauty of baseball, you never know what's going to happen. On paper, this is going to be a slugfest. It's the 2 teams with the fewest hits, 2 teams with the lowest batting average, and 5 innings in, 16 runs on 19 hits.
1-2 from Bierman, swung on and missed. A good job by Maverick Hanley to apply the tag after the drop third strike. And Zach strikes out to end the inning, but the Kettleers get one back. A solo home run from Michael Tolia makes it a 10-6 ball game as we head to the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Back here at Lowell Park, what a barn burner it's been between the Kettleers and the Commodores. 16 runs on 19 hits for these 2 sides. And the Commodores lead it 10-6 entering the 6th. Let's give you your trivia answer for today. It was Bryce Jarvis themed. He was the starting pitcher today for Cotuit. So our question was this. Bryce Jarvis's dad, Kevin Jarvis, out of Wake Forest, was a Cotuit Kettleer back in 1988. He played 12 seasons at the professional level, both in Major League Baseball and overseas. So which of the following franchises did Kevin not play for during his professional career? As the first pitch from Leffner to Logan Davidson is high and tight for ball 1. Your options were the Cincinnati Reds, the Boston Red Sox, the Chunichi Dragons out in Japan, and then the Chicago White Sox. 55% of the vote goes to the Boston Red Sox. More than half of the vote. What do we think about that?
Well, I thought that the fans would know better since this is Red Sox territory and maybe they'd know their Red Sox history, but unfortunately 55% of you got it wrong.
The answer is the other Sox, the Chicago White Sox. Swing and a miss there from Davidson. It's a 2-1 count. So Kevin Jarvis did not play for the Chicago White Sox. That was 18%. He played for a whole host of franchises. The Reds, the Tigers, the Twins, the Chunichi Dragons. He went to Japan. The Athletics, Rockies, Padres, Mariners, Cardinals, D-backs, and finally in 2006, rounding out his career with the Boston Red Sox. So there's the resume of Kevin Jarvis, whose son Bryce started out this game. And it's a 3-1 count here in the top of the 6th. Ryan Leffner on to face Logan Davidson. Here's the 3-1. Swung on, a line shot into right field. That's a base hit for Davidson. He'll stay pat at first with a single as Robertson fires to the cutoff man Wood. And like many innings today, the 6th inning starts out with a hit. Logan Davidson today, even though the Kettleers have faced the Commodores twice already this week, with the game on Thursday a week ago today and then a game on Monday, he's already 3 for 4 with a home run. 2 runs batted in on that 2-run home run back in the 4th. Here's Maverick Hanley now. He scored twice, lays down a bunt down the first base line. Bierman will take it himself. He He tags out Hanley, who does his job by moving Davidson over to second base. So it's been big ball today and then some. 6 home runs between these two teams, but Falmouth may try and finesse a run home with some small ball.
Yeah, Hanley doing a nice job just pushing out a bunt towards the first base side. Job by Davidson to run hard towards second. Kettleers didn't have a chance to get the lead runner there. Now it's on damage control. The offense has woken up for Cotuit. It's just a matter of can the relief pitchers hold it down. A 4-run deficit isn't insurmountable, especially when your bats are hot.
Austin Langworthy sends a laser into right field. It's down in fair territory. Actually foul territory. Check that as the home plate umpire and Mike Collier comes over to signal it foul. Looked to me to be fair right off the bat, but good for Cotuit that Langworthy's line shot was just foul.
By my eyes, too, I thought that was a fair ball just inside the line. The Falmouth first base coach was not happy once he saw that call. Tony Caldwell took off his helmet down there to protect himself at first base and put his hands up saying, "Oh, my goodness, I could not believe that call," because he had a good view of it, too. But a fortunate break for the Kettleers, as that would have probably been extra bases and another run scored.
Davidson takes the lead at second. 0-1 count with 1 out. The pitch, and it's a grounder this time, assuredly foul. Down the first base line, it's an 0-2 count. 10-6, Falmouth leads in the top of the 6th. And with Michael Tolia's second home run at the ball game, we remind you that every Kettleers home run at Lowell Park this year is special. His second round tripper of the day results in a $250 donation to the Cotuit Athletic Association. As the 0-2 skips past Brady Smith, the pass ball, he doesn't know where he is. Now rounding third and all the way home is Logan Davidson. So Falmouth scores their 11th run on a pass ball. Davidson was at second. He came to third, which was expected. But Brady Smith couldn't find the ball. You could probably hear in front of us Ryan Leffner and some of the Cotuit infield yelling at Brady Smith to try and find the ball. He couldn't find it. It was pinned right on the backstop. And Davidson comes in safe at home. It's 11-6 Falmouth.
That was just tough to see for the Kettleers there, right through Brady Smith's legs, and he did not know it was directly behind him.
Here's a ground ball on the right side, stopped by Bierman. Underhand toss to Ryan Leffner and gets the second out.
The thing is that Ryan Leffner came down to try and cover home plate, and multiple times he did say, behind you, behind you. I just did not register with Brady Smith and didn't check out until late, and by the time he did, the runner in Davidson was all the way coming home from third, and unfortunate that a runner can score from second on a play like that, and all of a sudden another 5-run ball game. 180
free feet on a passed ball as the first pitch to the Auburn Tigers, Stephen Williams, is low, ball 1. 11-6, Falmouth leads in the top of 6. Ryan Leffner out of St. Louis University to face Stephen Williams. Here's his second pitch, nubbed foul, and it's a 1-1 count.
It's crazy. Falmouth has now scored in 4 consecutive innings. They've scored in 5 of the 6 innings they've come to the plate so far today. Cotuit pitching has just not found a way against these bats, and when you play a team for the 3rd time in under a week, you're going to know them well. And unfortunately, the Kettleers just have not been able to execute on the mound.
And Falmouth came into this game with a .203 team batting average. Good for last on the Cape. Here's the 1-1 from Leffner outside. That's ball 2. Also this season, just 70 runs for the Commodores coming in. Also last on the Cape, they've exploded for 11 runs on 4 long balls here in the 6th. The 2-1. It's high, ball 3. The sun again hiding behind some clouds. Hot sunny day, about 85 degrees here at Lowell Park on this July 5th after some fun festivities yesterday. Nice parade down Main Street in Cotuit. And then some fun activities here at Lowell Park. The 3-1 outside, ball 4, and now Williams aboard. We had the hitting contest with pitcher Mike Roberts. 31 contestants. We got to be down on the field for that one. And then take some swings ourselves from assistant coach Paul Widener.
I think Coach Roberts said verbatim that you and I had the best swings of the day.
He did, and I actually almost hit him as Stowers sends a foul ball, 0-1 count.
It was more you than me. I did not look good out there.
Yeah,
he carried the load there.
He was over in shallow center field right behind second base, just collecting some of the balls. And I almost hit him, and he just yelled from out in second base, "There's Sam trying to hit me again." But I promise I don't have enough bat accuracy to try to do such a thing. It's an 0-1 count to Stowers, who sends a line shot over Corey Wood's head into right field. Steven Williams now on his horse into third. The throw comes in and is cut off by Wood. Staying pat at first is Kyle Stowers, but now runners on the corners for Falmouth with 2 outs in the 6th.
Falmouth has put on a clinic today offensively. They've hit home runs. They've gone first to third. They've strung together base hits. They have 11 runs on 13 hits in this ball game. They're just pounding the Cotuit pitchers right now, and it's been an impressive display for this offense that has really lacked this kind of big production this season. And they're really taking it to Cotuit right now.
And this is coming on the heels of a Wareham team that came in here on Tuesday, got 13 singles, 15 hits. They scored 8 runs in that 8-1 win. Now this is the last guy the Kettleers want to see, Cameron Cannon, with runners on the corners, 2 outs. First pitch, fastball down the pipe, strike 1. Cannon, an impressive resume today. A walk in the second, a bases clearing 3 RBI double with 2 outs in the third, and then a 2-run home run in the 5th. Already 5 runs batted in today, after tagging the Kettleers for 3 hits back on Monday and a walk-off last Thursday. 0-1 is at his ankles for ball 1. Cameron Cannon out of the University of Arizona certainly has had the Kettleers number as number 26, a righty, steps back in. This is his 2nd year of summer ball, played for the Lacrosse Loggers of the Northwoods League last year. Lefner sets, then steps off the mound. He was a pick of the D-backs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, 21st round of the 2016 draft. He has an older brother, Tanner, who was picked by the Orioles all the way back in 2010. A baseball family, as Lefner again calls time. Last season for the Wildcats, a 321 average with 8 home runs. And a half-century runs batted in, 50 for Cameron Cannon, as now Brady Smith will come to the mound to conference and strategize with Lefner. And already back to the dish. It's 11-6 Falmouth, top of the 6th at Lowell Park. Runners on the corners, Steven Williams at third, Kyle Stowers at first. At the plate, Cameron Cannon, a 1-1 count. Here's the pitch from Lefner. Just a bit inside, ball 2. So Ryan Lefner out of St. Louis looking to escape this jam and keep the Kettleers within striking distance. It's a 5-run pad right now for Falmouth. Here comes the 2-1 from Lefner. Swinging a chopper. Ricochets on top of the Kettleer dugout on the left side, and the count runs to 2-2 with 2 outs. Lefner looking for that put-away pitch as the sun again peeks through the trees, splashing the right side of the diamond. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and 2 runners on for Falmouth. Lefner sets, holding the ball in his tan glove, looking over towards third, now to the plate. Here's the 2-2, swung on a high chopper on the right side. Corey Wood charges in, gloves it, and throws to first. Lefner escapes a jam, but it's still 11-6 Falmouth, heading into the bottom of the 6th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, bottom of the 6th. It's 11-6 Falmouth. The Commodores have scored in every inning but the second. 3 runs in the 3rd, 3 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th. For the Kettleers, 5 runs in an explosive 4th inning, and then 1 run on a Michael Tolia home run in the 5th. And here we are, an 11-6 ball game. As ball 1 comes into Corey Wood, it's Ian Cook, the Western Illinois right-hander, back on for the 6th. He'll face Corey Wood, Duke Ellis, and Ryan Reynolds. Overhead windup, leg kick, delivery. Inside, it trickles past the catcher Maverick Hanley. And now Corey Wood sitting with a 2-0 count. How about Michael Tolia today? Certainly has to be one of the stories offensively, probably the story. Breaking an 0-for-17 drought with 2 big home runs as ball 3 comes in. 1 a 2-run shot in the 4th and then a solo shot in 5th. That was an absolute no-doubter, but he seems to be out of his slump and then some.
Yeah, he was taking that extra work in the cage earlier today, which was so good to see. You know he works hard. You know he's got the ability and finally able to apply it at the plate. And hopefully the beginning of a big blossoming for the rest of the season at the plate for Michael Tolia.
Strike 1 just came into Corey Wood, so it's a 3-1 count. And now Cook kicks and fires. Fastball down the middle, and the count runs full.
It's one of the things we've been talking about with this Cotuit team is who's the main character? Who's the star? Who's the protagonist that this team can lean on in a big spot for that clutch hit or for that clutch pitch? And a lot of it you would think is Michael Tolia, and he's finally showing the signs of that today.
Tolia trying to step up, and the leadoff runners aboard for the Kettleers as Corey Wood takes ball 4 inside. So now a runner on for Duke Ellis, and this was the part of the lineup that really got things going for the Kettleers in the 5th. It was 7-0 Falmouth heading into the 4th. And then Brady Smith got a 1-out single. Tolia drove him home with a home run. Bierman got on with the single. Corey Wood moved him over with a ground out. And then it was Duke Ellis, Ryan Reynolds, and Mike Salvatore with 2 doubles and a single to drive in 4 more runs. And now Ellis, who's 1 for 2 today, steps in, a lefty against the righty Ian Cook. Here's Cook's first pitch to Ellis. It's served on the outside corner, a called strike 1. Duke Ellis, out of the University of Texas, a transfer from Panola College. Here's Cook's pitch. It's high at the letters for ball 1. At Panola, Ellis was absolutely unstoppable, a .415 hitter in his 53 games at that community college, 4 home runs, and 21 stolen bases. Here's the 1-1 inside, throw back to first, not in time, as Corey Wood safe with a head-first slide. It's a 1-2 count back at the plate, with Duke Ellis shaking his head, not a fan of the last call. Ellis steps in. He has his dark red bat. Looks good with the Kettleer jersey. And here's the 1-2 pitch. Just outside, ball 2. Ian Cook, 6'5" righty out of Western Illinois. He's got the gray Falmouth pants up to his knees with the red and white stirrups underneath. 2-2 with a runner on first. Cook sets, fires. It's inside, bounces in the dirt, and the count runs full. What a game it's been here at Lowell Park. 11-6. Falmouth leads it. 11 runs on 13 hits. 6 runs on 8 hits for the Kettleers as they look to respond once again. Runner on first, full count. Cook set. He kicks and deals. Swung on, and it's through into center field. A base hit for Duke Ellis. Now coming around third, and he's going to turn all the way home. That's Corey Wood. He's safe as he taps it on home plate, and the Kettleers do answer. It's 11-7.
Nice swing by Duke Ellis, who's had a good ball game today. Back-to-back singles in his last 2 plate appearances. He advances to second with some trouble out there in center field. That's going to be an error on Austin Langworthy. He had trouble fielding that last ball. Unable to come up with it cleanly, which allowed Wood to score all the way from first base. And once again, this offensive outburst from the Kettleers continues Now it's a matter of can the pitchers come and help them, and then can this team continue to rally here in the 6th with still nobody out.
In a long season like this, so often the important thing is to see good things from your team and adjust, correct what's gone wrong. And the Kettleers have corrected that with 7 runs on 9 hits, still no one out. First pitch to Reynolds. Breaking ball pinned on the outside corner. It's a called strike 1 for Ryan Reynolds out of Texas. He's got his Longhorn teammate Duke Ellis with a lead at second. Reynolds 1 for 2 today, an RBI double back in the 4th. Cook ready for the pitch. Here's his 0-1. Hooks inside on the corner, strike 2. Left side of the infield, and the third baseman Cameron Cannon playing in. He's right on the middle, on the edge of that infield grass. Cook sets, no balls, 2 strikes. The pitch hooks inside, ball 1. Wind continuing to blow out at Lowell Park. That's played a factor in this game. 16 miles an hour straight out into the outfield. 6 home runs today to follow. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cook looks back. Now here's the pitch. It's low, and that's ball 2. Ryan Reynolds taking a deep back stretch as he holds both ends of his bat and puts it behind his head to keep himself nice and limber. Now taps both of his Nike cleats with the tan bat and gets ready for the 2-2. He's got Thomas Dillard's cleats on. The 2 swapped before the Wareham game. They're sticking with it. Cook is ready. Big lead from Duke Ellis over at second as he does a little dance. Now the 2-2. It's inside, ball 3. Throw back to second. Ellis on his horse to third. Tag applied in time. And that's the first out of the inning. Duke Ellis not happy with the call. He's giving an earful to the third base umpire, Rob Wilson, but he'll take the walk back into the dugout. The throw back to second caught Ellis right in the middle. He had a really big lead. So he decided to commit and go to third, nearly slid in safe. But the relay from Logan Davidson to Cameron Cannon, and now no one on the base paths. Count full. 1 out for Reynolds. Here's the pitch, and it hits the inside corner, a called strike 3. So on 2 consecutive pitches, that's 2 outs. And just like that, no one on with only 1 man to go here in the 6th.
Tough break for the Kettleers. On that last play with Ellis, who was caught out between second and third, I thought he got in there under the tag. That was where I saw it from my vantage point, but the call there by Rob Wilson, third base umpire, calling him out. Good tag there by Cannon, and a good job by Logan Davidson, who was kind of toying with Ellis at short to creep in from second. And, of course, it was Hanley, the catcher, that sparked all that by throwing down to short, and Ellis doing the right thing to try and go to third, and almost got in there as long as he is with his arm extended at 6'3", nearly getting underneath the tag, but unfortunately not getting the call.
There's the 1-1 to Salvatore. Dips outside for ball 2. So the Kettleers had a threat there. No one out, a runner on second. And just like that, clear base paths with 2 outs. Here's the 2-1 to Salvatore. He takes a swing, and it's a high fly ball in foul territory on the right side. The right fielder, Stowers, comes over with his hat flying off, and he makes the catch with his golden locks waving in the wind. So the Kettleers can't do much there, but a run comes home on Duke Ellis' single. That was Corey Wood. And they dig into this lead a little bit. It's 11-7 Falmouth heading into the 7th. This is Cotuit Kettleer Baseball here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Back here at Lowell Park, pitching change for the Kettleers. Ryan Leffner comes out, Joe Boyle comes in. 1 2/3 innings for Leffner, 4 runs, 4 hits, no walks or strikeouts. And now it's the big righty out of Notre Dame, Joe Boyle, 6'7", 220, a rising sophomore. This will be his 6th appearance of the season. He's a very fire and ice pitcher. When he's on, he's on. But this is a guy who can crank it up to 102 at the absolute maximum, with a slider in the upper 80s. So sometimes control issues can creep in, but we'll see if he can be on here for the 7-8-9 hitter, starting with Will Brennan. Boyle set, kicks and fires. First pitch, 98-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle. That's a good sign. Strike 1 on Brennan. Will Brennan, the only hitter in this Falmouth lineup without a base appearance, as he swings right through a 99-mile-an-hour heater. And that's an 0-2 count. Brennan 0 for 3 today with 3 groundouts. Everyone else has joined the hit party. Here's the 0-2 from Boyle. Swung on a high chopper over to the shortstop Salvatore. He gloves it, throws to first, not in time. Will Brennan beats him out, and that's an infield single, and now everyone in the Falmouth lineup has joined the hit parade.
Would have been a nice play by Salvi over there on the run. A nice pick on a high chop up short. Bierman did a good job to stretch for it too, but good speed from Brennan.
Next up, Davis Sims. 2 home runs today. Solo shots to left, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. First pitch from Boyle, swing and a miss, 98. That's strike 1.
Wanted his 3rd right there. Took a huge chop at that one.
Sims, first baseman out of Murray State, came into today already with a home run. He's tripled his total. Here's the 0-1 from Boyle. Another fastball, this time low for ball 2. Or ball 1, check that. 11-7, Falmouth on top of the 7th in Cotuit. 11 runs on 14 hits for the visiting Commodores. Here's Boyle's 1-1. Swing from Sims, and it's a little tapper foul. A bloop onto the right side. That's strike 2. 3rd meeting of the season between these two sides. Both went to extras. One was a 10-inning walk-off win for Falmouth. The other being a 2-2 tie that went all the way to 12. The longest you can go on the Cape. Here's the 1-2. Fastball way outside, this time ball 2. Boyle topping out at 98. A runner at first, that's Will Brennan. He takes his lead. Boyle set, first fires to first. Pickoff attempt unsuccessful. Joe Boyle getting some encouragement from the Cotuit dugout. Mike Roberts. He's got a 2-2 count, looking for the K. Here's the pitch, swing and a miss. Joe Boyle gets his K. That's out number 1 of the inning.
Nice job, Joe Boyle, going upstairs from 98-mile-an-hour heat. Sitting down Sims, who's been a tough out today, and Joe Boyle looking pretty sharp early on, despite that little infield single from Brennan. He's done his job against the first 2 batters he's faced.
If you want to have a good offensive day, a good strategy is to not strike out. And that was just the 2nd strikeout of the evening for Falmouth. The runner going, pitch was inside, throw to second from Brady. Smith is not in time, he's safe. That's Will Brennan with the stolen base.
Not a bad try from Smith there. Threw a little bit of high, and sliding under the tag was Brennan. That's one thing we haven't seen today from Falmouth. They haven't been too active on the base paths, but they haven't needed to be because of their 14 hits they've posted on the board so far.
It's Hayden Cantrell nursing a 1-0 count. Here's Boyle's pitch. Outside for ball 2. Another runner in scoring position for Falmouth. That's Will Brennan at second. In this 11-7 game, the Kettleers certainly within striking distance. But they'll need Joe Boyle to hold it here. 2-0 count to the lefty Cantrell. The righty Boyle kicks and deals. Fastball hits the outside corner, strike 1. To set at Lowell Park. About 3/4 of the field in shade. All of right field and the first base side of the infield. Still in the beating sun. Here's the 2-1. High and tight, 98 miles per hour. It's ball 3. Falmouth 6-3-1 in their last 10. Cotuit 3-6-1. The Commodores have turned it around after starting 2-8 and sitting steady in the gutter of the West. Here's the 3-1 to Cantrell. He swings right through it. A nasty slider that time. It's strike 2. Joe Boyle, 6'7", tallest pitcher for Cotuit. Falmouth actually has the tallest pitcher on the Cape. That's Mitchell Stone out of Oklahoma State, 6'9". He started the game last Thursday between these two. Here's the payoff pitch. It's outside, ball 4. Hayden Cantrell draws a walk. Now 2 runners on with 1 out for the Commodores. Joe Boyle continuing to get some encouragement. He can pump gas up to 102, but control has been his kryptonite. We'll see if he can get out of this jam here as the infield comes in at double play depth for Logan Davidson, who's having a nice day at the office, 3 for 4. He's scored 2 runs, has 2 singles, and a 2-run blast back in the 4th inning. That was a no-doubter to left. As a righty, here he comes in as a lefty to face off against Boyle. First pitch, swung on, fouled straight back. That's an 0-1 count. 2 runners on, Brennan at second, Cantrell at first. 11-7 Falmouth, top of the 7th, as the Commodores look to tack on to this offensive explosion, and Joe Boyle looks to shut it down. Boyle sets, looks back at second, now kicks and fires to the plate, swing and a miss from Davidson, an 0-2 hole. Boyle out of Notre Dame by way of Goshen, Kentucky, where he went to North Oldham High School from the same area as Griffin McLarty. McLarty started Tuesday's game against Wareham. It's an 0-2 count with 1 out for the Clemson Tiger, Logan Davidson, going up against his ACC foe in Joe Boyle. No balls, 2 strikes to count. Here's Boyle's pitch to Davidson. Taps it, a grounder on the right side through Bierman's glove. That will allow a run to score. Will Brennan comes around to home, and it's 12-7 Falmouth. Cantrell moves over to second. Davidson on first off the Cotuit error.
Wow, another inning where Falmouth has scored today. They've strung together 5 consecutive frames in a row where they plated a run. That time, Davidson, the RBI, off of an error. They're going to get that an error on Bierman, who had a chance at it over at first, but was unable to field it cleanly. And unfortunately for the Kettleers, the day continues to get longer on the mound.
Now it'll be Maverick Handley looking to tack on. It's 12-7 Falmouth. Hayden Cantrell at second, Logan Davidson at first. Matchup in the battery is Boyle and Handley. Here's the first pitch from Boyle, and Handley swings right through it for strike 1. Handley today reached on a fielder's choice in the first and came around to score. Singled and scored in the 3rd, and then got out in the 4th and 5th on a liner and a sac bunt.
Just kind of been thinking during a couple of these at-bats with Boyle representing Notre Dame, Davidson from Clemson, and Handley out of Stanford. A couple of good football matchups between those 2 sides. Notre Dame, Clemson, always a good game when they get together now in the ACC. And, of course, ND and Stanford can expect a good 2017 ball game whenever those 2 get together.
They play every year, right?
Every year.
Stanford, Notre Dame. Here's the 0-1. It skips past Brady Smith into the backstop, a pass ball that gets past the backstop. So the home plate umpire, Mike Collier, will hold both of those runners. They both move over 90 feet. So now Davidson is over at second, Hayden Cantrell at third.
Of course, Notre Dame, Stanford, remember the year that Notre Dame went to the national championship? That was Manti Te'o's
right.
Big goal line stand. Kind of sparked Notre Dame's season.
1-1, dips low, ball 2. But then the last game of that season was against USC, right? That was That was kind of their last stand in the LA Coliseum.
I think they won it 22-13.
2-1 from Boyle, dips low again, ball 3. And then, of course, the cherry on top was the Alabama Crimson Tide, your former school, I think it was 42-7, if my
14,
memory.
14.
42-14.
I think Notre Dame got a couple late scores. That was an Alabama domination fest from the beginning. It wasn't even close.
Notre Dame-Stanford matchup. Here's the 3-1 from Boyle. It's high, ball 4. Bases juiced with 1 out. Austin Langworthy, the Florida Gator, comes up. Hey, this isn't a half-bad football matchup.
No,
Notre Dame, Florida.
They haven't played, and I don't even know when the two sides last played.
Jerry Weinstein's going to come out.
It's not like Notre Dame, Miami.
Oh, let's see. We're looking online right now. Florida, Notre Dame, they've played just once ever back in 1992. 39-28 win for Notre Dame.
Wow. That makes sense. Notre Dame would have been pretty good back then. Same thing with Florida. That would have been Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators.
The old ball coach.
Yeah.
Of course, now Florida football certainly taking a step down in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, it's been tough through Will Muschamp, Jim McElwain, and Gators defense is always good. You can always bank on that.
Back on the diamond, Jerry Weinstein concludes the mound visit. 1 out, bases loaded for Langworthy. First pitch to him, a grounder through on the left side. That's a base hit. That'll score 2. Second run comes around to score. That's Davidson. Trickling into third is Maverick Hanley. Langworthy stays put at first. That's a 2 RBI single. And Falmouth is up a touchdown, 14-7.
Wow, they were up a touchdown to open the game, 7-0. They've doubled back their lead, 14-7. And Cotuit, they got their bats going today, but the story of the ball game has just been the pitching has not been able to cut it. And on a day when the bats finally come alive, one of the stronger suits of this team has faltered, and that's really unfortunate to see, as there's going to be a pitching change for the Kettleers now.
Weinstein takes the ball from Joe Boyle. We'll have a new pitcher coming on. We've been talking a lot of college football, and now we have a football score. Falmouth 14, Cotuit 7. Pitching change here in the top of the 7th. We'll be back right here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. Pitching change for the Kettleers. Joe Boyle takes a seat, and here comes the Cotuit native, Luke Chevalier, on to pitch here at Lowell Park for the second time this season. Last time out was against Wareham. He went a solid inning and a third, giving up just 1 hit and no runs against the red-hot Gatemen. This will be his 5th appearance of the season. 6'1", 200 pounds, a senior out of Northern State University. That's all the way out in South Dakota, a long way from Cotuit. But Luke grew up at Cotuit, just about a short bike ride away from Lowell Park. Now he'll come on and try and temper these Falmouth bats. It's 14-7 Commodores. Top of the 7th, a 2 RBI single just moments ago from Austin Langworthy. It extended the lead, and now it's Stephen Williams with runners on the corners. First pitch from Chevalier. Tapped foul, strike 1. Maverick Hanley at third, Langworthy at first. 1 out, top 7. 2 touchdowns for Falmouth, 1 touchdown for Cotuit. So Chevalier comes set. Here's the pitch, outside, ball 1. We've been talking pitcher-batter college football matchups. Of course, Stephen Williams with Auburn. That's a mighty fine football program. I'm sure they would have a fun day with Northern State University.
I'm not sure if Northern State University has a football program. We'd have to check on that.
Chevalier's 1-1, hits the inside corner, strike 2.
Certainly have turned out a great baseball product here in Chevalier. It's been so cool to see him pitch now here at Lowell Park after making his debuts on the road and pitching in the Cotuit pinstripes.
Here's the 1-2. It's low, ball 2. He played some high school games here, Sturgis Charter High School in Barnstable. Played some Little League games at Lowell Park. His mom, Nikki, just sang out the national anthem on Tuesday at Lowell Park. And now he's in the Cotuit pinstripes. Here's the 2-2 to Williams. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Actually, Williams got just a piece of it. It'll be a foul tip, and he stays alive. Let's whip it around the Cape. It's been a busy day here at Lowell
Let's
Park.
check this scoreboard, shall we?
Some other high-scoring games out at Red Wilson Field. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks have a 7-6 lead over the YD Red Sox. That's a red-hot YD team. They've won 9 of their last 10 games, but right now Hyannis a chance to take them down. Here's the 2-2 to Williams, low for ball 3. Down at Doran Park in Bourne, Wareham putting a beating on the Braves. It's 7-1 Gateman, only bottom 4 there. Bottom of the 3rd at White House Field in Harwich, the only field the Kettleers have yet to see. It's 1-0 Mariners over Whitecaps. Chevalier steps off, awaiting the payoff pitch. And we're just underway down in the jungle at Eldridge Park. Bottom of the 1st. No score yet between the Anglers and the Firebirds. A home and home there. Yesterday, those two teams played a 3-0 win for Orleans. Payoff pitch. Too far inside. Ball 4. That'll load up the bases again for Falmouth. Williams draws the walk. Ducks on the pond for Kyle Stowers.
Lots of walks by the Cotuit pitching staff today. That's the 5th one issued. In comparison, there's been a lot more hits, but when you're allowing 20 different base runners on at one time in a game, it's never going to work out too well in your favor.
Here's Chevalier's pitch to Stowers. It's a poke into left field, down a base hit. That'll score 2. Here comes Hanley to score. Now Langworthy joins the party. Throw back to second, not in time. Stowers safe with a 2 RBI double. And this rout continues. It's 16-7 Falmouth.
Well, Falmouth is trying to close in on the mark that the Wareham Gatemen set for the 2018 season as far as how many runs can you score in one ball game. And the Gatemen put up 17 on Hyannis for a season high. Falmouth closing in on that mark with just 1 out here in the 7th. They have 16 after the 2-run double from Stowers. It's just been a beating. 16 runs on 16 hits today.
2 runners on for Cameron Cannon. First pitch outside, ball 1. Luke Chevalier on the bump. 16 runs on 16 hits. Commodores are striking while the iron's hot. Now a big swing and a miss from Cameron Cannon, and the count runs to 1-1. An offensive explosion. Falmouth has scored in 6 of the 7 innings today. And here's a ground ball to the shortstop Salvatore. He picks it up, fires to first to get a much-needed out. Another run comes across. Stephen Williams comes home. That's run number 17 for the Commodores.
Wow, 6 runs have come in this inning. 6 runs. They've had bags of them here today, Falmouth.
And now they've hit around the lineup. Will Brennan will come to the plate for the 2nd time today. Or 2nd time in this inning, as he sends a first pitch foul. It's an 0-1 count. Will Brennan came in to start the 7th inning as the only player in this Falmouth lineup without a hit. He got a single, stole a base, came around to score. Now he has a chance for 2 hits in the 7th. The 0-1, a chopper right to Salvatore. He charges in and throws to first to end the nightmare inning. 6 runs for Falmouth in the 7th, and they lead it by 10, 17-7. Entering the home half of the 7th, it's time to stretch at Lowell Park, a much-needed stretch for the Kettleers. We'll be back on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. here at Lowell Park. Falmouth up by 10. It's 17-7 after they blew it open and then some with a 6 spot in the 7th. New pitcher on for the Commodores, replacing Ian Cook. It's Mitchell Miller, 6'5" lefty out of Clemson, a rising junior from Covington, Georgia. This is his 5th appearance of the season. He's 0-1 so far with a 7.36 ERA. He has struck out 12, walked 6. Last time out was against Brewster. He'll face the top of the order for Cotuit, down by 10. So we talked about some of the keys to the game to start this one out. We said the offense has been cold. Coming into this one, the Kettleers had just 28 hits, 8 runs in the last 4 games, a sub-200 batting average as a team in the last 4 games. And the offense has responded. 7 runs today on 9 hits, very respectable. Michael Tolia got out of his slump with 2 home runs today, but just a 17-run explosion from Falmouth. And Cotuit's almost certainly going to go down with a loss.
You know, if you asked me, would you rather have a team that could score a bunch but had no pitching, couldn't score at all but had great pitching? I'd always take the team with the better pitching, because pitching and defense wins you baseball games at the end of the day. Look at Harwich, right? Even Falmouth right now, their offense before today was 10th in the league in almost every category, but their pitching had allowed the least runs in the league. Cotuit has had a decent pitching staff this season, and right when the offense turns around, unfortunately, it just has not been their day on the mound, giving up 17 runs on 16 hits. The one day when the pitching has been stellar, really. The last 5 games, the pitching had been in a really good run of form. Just a case of some arms maybe a little tired. Even with the off day yesterday, thought maybe after a reset that they would be fresh.
The 3-1 pitch to Robertson, rocketed foul. The count runs full.
It's encouraging to see the offense back in it today. And 7 runs is going to win you a lot of ball games, but when you give up 17, it's not even close in this case.
Robertson fouls another one off. Coming into this game, the Kettleers were 8-1 this season when scoring 5+. That'll in all likelihood drop to 8-2. On the flip side, the Kettleers are 1-8-1 when they score less than 5. Here's the payoff pitch to Robertson. He takes a hack and sends another popper foul on the left side. And the count stays full, 17-7. Falmouth has scored 1 in the first, 3 in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, 1 in the 6th, and then 6 in the 7th. Payoff pitch again, and again it's a foul ball, a popper that might be playable for the 3rd baseman, Cannon. It's not, as it falls out of play. And Robertson will do it again as he fights hard. So coming into today, Cotuit 9-9-1, 4th in the West. Falmouth 8-10-1, last in the West. In all likelihood, Falmouth will tie up the record with Cotuit, and both teams will be 9-10-1. Payoff pitch just misses outside, ball 4 to Will Robertson, who will take first base. The tiebreaker, the first tiebreaker here on the Cape League, is actually not head-to-head as it is at the Major League level. It's the amount of runs you score, not run differential, but the amount of runs scored. So Cotuit with 85 coming into today, Falmouth with just 70. Cotuit will stay out of last, but Falmouth nipping at their heels. Runner on first for Dillard. First pitch hits the inside corner. One of our GM liaisons, Dan, was telling me before the game about a crazy tiebreaker scenario a few years ago for the Patriot Cup, which is awarded to the winner of the Hyannis Cotuit series every year. He said it was 3-3 that year, and pretty much every tiebreaker was tied. They had the same amount of runs scored. Of course, the head-to-head was tied, same run differential, same amount of runs scored against each other. So it went down to like the 7th tiebreaker. As strike 3 comes into Dillard, called strike 3, backwards K that time for Mitchell Miller, now 1 out in the 7th. Can you guess what, it was like the 6th or 7th tiebreaker. What was it?
Oh, okay, so it wasn't head-to-head, it wasn't runs scored, not runs allowed. Those are the basics. I would say wins over common opponents in the division.
It was not that.
Okay, let me get another
I'm pretty sure that was one of them, but
well,
it
that's
was
probably
not
the next in
yeah.
line. Let me guess another one here. Not over Western Division opponents. Maybe. Oh, it's going to be something crazy.
Jacob Goldfarb takes a swing and a miss. He comes in as a pinch hitter for Brady Smith. So Smith exits, the catcher in the 3-hole, 1 for 3 today. Jacob Goldfarb out of Oregon in the ball game. 0-1 count, 1 out, Will Robertson at first. Sam is trying to guess the tiebreaker. It was the 7th tiebreaker used a few years ago to determine the Patriot Cup, which Cotuit ended up winning over Hyannis.
I'll say road wins. How many road wins?
It was not road wins. 0-2 is outside, ball 1. Let me
All
know
right.
when you give up.
I'm down to my final strike.
I'll let
I'm
you
at
keep
2
guessing.
strikes. I'm at 2 strikes.
All
So I'm
right.
going to choke up here and see if I can punch one into right field. Oh, golly. I feel like we were playing riddles the other night. Remember that?
Yeah, right. First the 1-2 to Goldfarb. Breaking pitch just misses, ball 2.
Not road wins. So I've exhausted about the top 5 options. So I'm
Right.
like 2 away if I can figure it out. What would Dan think? Dan Fortier, our GM liaison, one of our great interns here at Cotuit. Always with good nuggets. He's been around the Cape League for so long. Growing up around it here in Cotuit. Okay. After this pitch, I'll try and give a guess.
Goldfarb steps in, the 2-2, fastball down the middle, taken for strike 3. That's 2 gone.
Okay. I will guess that the tiebreaker was wins against the Orleans Firebirds.
I love that guess, but as I'm sure you already know, that's wrong.
Yeah.
The tiebreaker was strikeouts against each other.
Oh my gosh.
Here's Michael Tolia, takes a first pitch strike. So strikeouts against each other, and what Dan told me is the Kettleers in their last game against Hyannis that season got 2 strikeouts in the 9th inning, and that gave it to the Kettleers. They got 2 more strikeouts all season than Hyannis. That gave them the Patriot Cup by strikeouts.
Wow. They didn't do like number of stolen bases against each other or number of home runs. Wow. That's cool.
1-1 to Tolia is a rocket, but way foul on the left side. He put a good lick into that one. It's a loud strike and a 1-2 count with 2 away.
I had to shout out the Jungle Birds in there because that's such an exotic place to play. And you never know what's going to happen in the jungle, and that certainly can roll the dice on your tiebreaker.
Circle July 27th on your calendar, back at Eldridge. Here's the 1-2 to Tolia, inside, ball 2. Of course, something out of the ordinary has happened every time the Kettleers have played Orleans this year. The infamous foul slam from Adam Oviedo on the 4th game of the season. And then a big 5-run comeback for the Kettleers second time around. And then July 10th will be the makeup day. Orleans marches back into Lowell Park. There's a fly ball off the bat of Tolia, caught in right field by Kyle Stowers. So the Kettleers get the leadoff runner on with Will Robertson, but nothing doing with 3 straight putouts. It's still 17-7. Falmouth leads it entering the 8th here on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.